There's not many games or roles in which Gentlemates can trump G2. So let's see how it goes. They're going to jump into the server now and get ready for the TAC debut coming in here in his first ever Tier 1 event, filling in for Hunter. It may be temporary. Let's see if he can make the most of it.
Well, here we go. Inferno live, opening game for IEM Rio 2026 here on the B stream. Gentlemates and G2 locking horns. Gentlemates going to be starting off proceedings on the T side. Obviously, G2 get to choose which side of the map they start on. Two-man setup in towards the top of Banana with the flash primed, but Gentlemates head in the opposite direction.
TAC will do the right thing, take that information and fall back to the site. Now here we got on the corner of apartments, immediately deleted by Salsal, and there goes TAC as WG enters. That's a great take for Gentlemates to begin, and some Pious, he may have a couple of flashes, but there's no kit on this retake for G2. Now this is quite far up, and that new graveyard position will expose Mopos, make things pretty awkward, and Mattis actually has cleared Salsal going for the boiler flank, so all of a sudden 3v3, Sumpire still has those flashes and they can try now and force the issue. WG and Pit has a crossfire to work with Martineza, and Martineza will hold on. He can get himself all three. Great start for the Gentlemates AWPer.
Oh, brilliantly done there, like you say, for Martineza to set the round in motion by just finding all those kills. I mean, there was a clear and direct plan. It was a little bit late for G2 to have kind of figured out what was going down. With them pushing down Banana, they get the info, but Gentlemates still activated when they hand that window of opportunity available to them, and getting those two kills so cleanly on the A-bomb side basically got the job done.
Yeah, exactly the start they would have wanted, and a very simple call to go for that A play as well. I think just keeping it simple today when they know there's maybe frailties on G2 could be the way to go. Will be a G2 force coming back in. We've got the 5.7s, we've got the MP7. Nertz with his favoured MP7. If there's one person that would have been delighted that MP7 buff that came through a few months ago, it would be him. He was using it before the buff.
Yeah, just shows you the value in sticking by your day ones. He's now been rewarded. Sometimes it can go the opposite direction, but for him, he's benefited massively. Nothing untoward coming through from this round out of G2 so far. Pretty standard setup. Going to look to retake top Banana control here, but Gentlemates are happy to let the CTs have their fun. They know that the CTs will be limited for utility coming into this round, so instead they wait for G2 to make their move, and then they set themselves up accordingly immediately afterwards as they start to make their way up middle. Sunpius good for a frag, but the trade comes through immediately afterwards.
Happy to have that top mid control. Molly toward the back of Pit now. There's still two players on the A side of the map, and they don't need to go if they don't want to, so they won't. They'll fall back to a bottom Banana, and right now that B-bomb site is totally open, so I think G2 may have gambled incorrectly here. They've got the utility they need, Gentlemates, to make sure that there's no catch on that CT cross. We'll give it a look. Probably a few bullets through that smoke, and he does do some good damage onto the AK of Martineza, but you need a bit of a gamble push here, and I'm not sure that will work out for them. They're going to give it a look, but more often than not here, you'll be saving your force to try it again.
Yeah, especially with no utility in play here. Not really any option besides just calling it a day and heading for the hills. And some really nice calling here from Gentlemates after they, show a little bit of presence in Banana, then feign as though they're committing to the full exec up top mid into that A-bomb site. G2 get on their little horses and they scurry across as fast as possible, because when you're in a force buy on the CT side, you're also more inclined to rotate quicker than what you normally would in a gun round, because you feel compelled to try and get ahead of the round and figure out what's going on and set yourselves up accordingly. So you're almost more antsy in that regard. That's exactly what Gentlemates play into by forcing those rotations and then just execing into a vacant bomb site.
Yeah, keeping it simple. And that's the way to go about things early. TAC hasn't really had a chance to get into the game yet, so I can't blame him.
Tech, on the other hand, is right here already.
Indeed. I mean, I'll have to try and figure out what the issue is, but hopefully not too long. By the way, we do see you guys in chat, and we know we've got a few little tidbits to sort out, so we'll figure that out for you as quick as we can. It has been relayed, so don't you despair. We've got you.
Do not fret. The engineers are working on it.
You need to press the button, the magic button that just fixes everything that apparently people think we have access to.
You've just tilted the whole of production. Yeah, it's like, really, you think we could just push one button? One button, Trav, and it's all fixed? We've got thousands.
He had no zoom.
Start the game, Carson. Come on now. Enough yapping.
But yeah, one of the things that I want to see from today in general is just G2 have this stable level even when you're not playing with your in-game leader. As I was talking about earlier, right? I mean, Hunter has played 1,150 maps on G2. He debuted with Nexa, Jax, Kenny S, and Amanek. That is a very, very long time. 2019 is now a scarily long time ago, right? Who would have thought that time actually goes that quick? But it does. And as I said, he hasn't missed a game since he was ill at Chengdu last year. So yeah, lots of it's a rare occurrence for G2 to not play with Hunter. It might only be 2 events in his entire career that he's missed while under the G2 banner. So it's a really weird setup for Saw as the coach and Pius as the interim in-game leader and Nertz as the secondary caller for this event have to deal with.
I wonder if this might actually benefit Sun Pius in a weird way, forcing him to actually take a little bit more responsibility as a leadership figure within the team, forcing him to pay a little bit more attention to the macro of the round and what's going on around him, what his teammates need from some of these situations, and maybe what some of the best game plans are. I mean, sometimes it can go the complete opposite direction, where it's like the Medusa effect. Once you look into the eyes of being an IGL, you can never unsee that big picture and go back to the micro of just focusing on your own crosshair. But obviously, Sun Pius hasn't been in great form for a while now, and maybe this is something that could just help him inadvertently. I mean, obviously this isn't an intentional decision, but you got to try and look at the positives that you can take away from this, and maybe this will just help him, as I say, take a step back and get to take in a bit more of the macro. Maybe that could help him with his AWP game down the line.
Indeed, we'll have to say that's the case. Thankfully, the tech is not too long, and we're immediately ready to get back underway. G2 with that saved 4 spy, see if they can put it into good use. And actually something I wanted to mention about Gentlemates and maybe, changes that they might have to make. Now, they haven't made the major, obviously. Before Gentlemates went on this incredible run, before they were signed to Gentlemates, Davy G took a break, right? He took a break and he was pretty much convinced that he wanted to retire. Then all of a sudden, he was playing great again. Gentlemates were playing great again. They were in a major run and they wanted to try and make it happen with him. And now that's not happened. I wonder what the motivation is like for Davy G. And we mentioned about players from the Spanish region who would be there to maybe take over the reins and join Gentlemates. There's a certain man by the name of Joey on Mouse NXT. Knowers may know him.
Not anymore.
He's now no longer on that Mouse NXT project. He's been talked up for a while by many Spaniards in CS. So I think that could be a bit of a slam dunk for me. A slam dunk move in the future.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I actually really like that call. I hadn't thought about that much myself. I feel like Davy G, I don't think you could draw parallels, though, between how he felt last year and this year. I'm going to put that pause on ice for a second, though, with this exec gaining some traction. G2 do still have a 3-man setup with the Force rotating across, and they will be able to find a couple kills here to try and keep Gentlemates at bay, but there's a flurry of frags to restore calm against this, what is essentially a Force buy, even though they haven't spent their money, because they carried the cross the Forced weapons from the previous round into this one. Nice try there from Tack on the Deeg. And now Heavy God left. I mean, this is more than just vaguely doable. Like 60 health between 2 players. 8 on the money. Going to chip down Davy G even further. They're both basically one-shottable. I mean, Martinez is certainly to the body. Davy G might be. Depends on how close Heavy God can get. Problem is he doesn't have a kit and he doesn't have confirmation on how much damage has been done. So he's just looking to inflict extra economic damage. But that won't happen. And it's a flawless start for Gentlemates on their map pick.
Yeah, not sure how Heavy God didn't get that kill, but there we go. He only needed 1 bullet, I think, but yeah, the damage won't be as much as he would have wanted. As you said, economic damage will be perfect for G2 in that round. It's all the thing they could really do in that situation, but now is the round that matters. Pius, he's joined the AWP IGL club, at least temporarily. What can he show us on this CT side to begin Inferno to try and get his team up and running? An immediate push down. Full blind as he tries to fall back off of it. Nice try, but not to be.
Yeah, like you say, part-time membership for him in the club. And, oh, great double nade. Nertz was feeling pretty comfortable with the smoke in towards the halfway of Banana, and then he plays catch inadvertently. Not a fun game to play when it's HEs coming your way. Gentlemates now shift their focus in towards the say bomb site. For the time being, G2 do still have the necessary 3-man setup. A tag but no frag from Sunpies. He's forced backwards. He's going to be able to round the corner. He wants to force the fight, and that's going to cost him his life.
Heavy God's got to hold on. We know, you mentioned it, pit player Heavy God is one of the best at the job, but he's going to need to do more now, and he's delivered brilliantly. Oh, Heavy God's done it again. What a quad kill. We talked it up and it happened, but it's still a 1 versus 1, by the way. Mattis versus Salsol. Salsol trying to fake that bomb plot, and now Mattis is playing the mind games. When is he going to peek? Who's going to take a heads-up duel? Finally, it's going to be Mattis, and he'll manage to get it done. The Heavy God quad kill does not go in vain.
Oh, what a massive hold coming through from him. Trapped in the corner, holding the line, finding all of those kills, saves the day for his team. That's why he's such a massive asset. That's why I highlighted him in the pregame coming into Inferno in particular. 1 mag? Are you kidding me, Heavy God? That is ridiculous. Brilliantly done. And then really well done from Mattis in the 1v1. He never seemed to kind of panic in that situation. He was just toying with Salsol. Salsol even gets off of the bomb plant when he's like half a second away from completing the plant because he's worried Mattis is just committing straight to the push. And then just big wide swing out in the open. Mattis backs his mechanics, and that will open up the account here for G2.
Yeah, if there's one person on G2 you'd want to back their mechanics, it would be Mattis, to be fair. I mean, you could argue he's the best player on the team with pure raw ability. How many times we saw him deliver for Fnatic, and even back on his old teams like Samp. Remember we covered him for the first time on Samp, I'm sure. Of course. And these days on G2, it was an absolute slam dunk of a pickup. He knew he'd play well and deliver. And sure, you know, G2, they haven't exactly won much other than that Blast London event. You could definitely argue that was a bit of a fluke, beating Vitality in that grand final. But look, you can't argue with the talent they have on the team, especially with Mattis.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an evolution for him, though, back to maybe a little bit more of the type of the player he was in Fnatic since Mulbs' departure, because Nertz is not going to be a self-sacrificial entry fragger on the T side. He needs more resources. He likes to be part of the guy, the core who goes in maybe second, get a little bit more set up. He's not just going to be running in first, dying for the cause, and then giving info to the players who come in afterwards. So I expect Mattis to actually pick up that role a little bit more and try and take up some of the space that's been left by Mulb since he's left the squad. And I think Mattis can do that. He did do that for Fnatic, and so I think we will see him going back to that just like hyper-active entry fragger and not really being too concerned about dying if it's in a meaningful cause. More on that in the second half, though. Gentle mates, keeping this one simple and direct.
Right click flash is primed for Mattis from Coffin. Nertz will re-smoke them though. That's a very good timing on that. They're going to have to force their way through it maybe, and that will make things awkward. But he's let them get long way in. Nertz almost shoots his teammate for a split second there, but he makes up for it. Still gets a kill and delivers another. Oh, the transfer sick from Nertz. He's looking a bit like his old self already. Now, Salsol's in another clutch. 1v2, not impossible by any stretch of the imagination. He had a chance in that previous round, but that was a 1v1. 1v2 is a step a little bit more difficult. And Sunpius and Heavy God, neither of them have a kit picked up. There is one on the site there. You can see it to Salsol's right. Going to creep forward now, and there's going to be an immediate hold, a 10-second hold, and Sunpius has been seen by Salsol. Oh, but it's Sunpius who will get the kill. Very good opportunity for Salsol to get that one kill and then force Heavy God off that defuse, but not to be.
Also just good spatial awareness there from Sunpius when he does turn his attention to CT. He doesn't have much cover to work with, but he does use the pillar there to give himself a little bit of something, and that's what makes the difference, because if Salsol gets that kill, Heavy God's probably forced to get off the defuse, but it's this hold here from Nerds that makes the massive difference, and it's the extra man on the B bomb side as well. Gentlemates run into a stacked up bomb site, and they get platted by Nerds with a fantastic triple. That spray transfer on the third was a thing of beauty. And we've required a couple big individual moments from some players as the last lines of defense on the bomb sites yet to get G2 going, but they've got rounds on the board as they close the gap to 1, and they should be able to tie it up here unless Martinez can find a way to let this hero AK sing.
Yeah, Davy G's been very kind by giving that over to Martin Eza. Brought it up and had absolutely nothing left for anything of his own. Got a deagle now off the body of Mopos, sure, but AK for Martin Eza needs to do something special. And yeah, G2, let's see if they can assert themselves properly now, because Gentlemates will be thinking to themselves, 2 clutch opportunities in a row. Those might be the rounds we need to find a way to win if we're to just make absolutely certain that G2 are looking weak today. If they lose the clutches, then G2 can probably still scrape by, even with Academy stand-in tack in the team for his Intel Extreme Masters debut and Tier 1 LAN debut.
Yeah, that's going to be the hardest part for Gentlemates, though, because of how extremely talented these G2 players are. So when it comes down to team play, yeah, Gentlemates might have an edge because of the stand-in and G2 missing their IGL. When it comes down to those individual moments, that's where you're going to see G2 prevail. Sunpius hasn't been shying away from these duels, and he takes down that hero AK. Smoke will somewhat isolate the bomb site here for Gentlemates until Matisse gets in on the action. Double kill, quick fire from him. Nerds will then phase straight through the smoke. It's flawless from G2 as they tie up the scoreline at 3 apiece.
Absolute must for them to assert themselves early, because just thinking about it from the mental perspective of TAC for a second, if they went down like 6-0 early, lost a couple of clutches, even if he's not got many kills on the board, which obviously he only has one, it was a Deagle anti-eco kill, or anti-force spy kill, sorry, that can get to a player's mind when you're playing in a big tournament for the first time. And now they're even at 3-3, he knows that nothing's really been his fault in any way. He can try and relax round by round and feel better round by round.
Yeah, there's also less pressure on him because of these big individual moments coming through from the team around him. So it's a really good point that you highlight there, that it is going to allow for TAC to just settle into the game a little bit more, and he can take a little bit longer to get going. That is a meaty grenade, my goodness. That's certainly going to help G2 down the line. Damage done both ways, though. All 10 players left alive, but a couple of them have lost some limbs.
Yeah, and TAC, of course, can't just overthink things either. It's very, very difficult for me to say that. He's the player, I'm just sitting here talking about him. But, as I say, comparison is the thief of joy. If you compare yourselves to others, you'll never be happy. So, he has to focus on himself.
Hell yeah. Is that Dostoevsky, or is that, like, Friedrich Nietzsche?
No idea.
Just good old Trav. That's what I know.
Good old Trav. Okay.
Matisse, have a look at that ragdoll. Good frag back from Sunpius to bring it into the 3v3. There's pressure now mounting in on this A bomb site. Doesn't look like Gentlemates are going to pull the trigger on a commitment. In fact, they're going to reroute and reshape the round here and shift themselves into what looked like a B split. Duffy G, instead of committing through CT spawn, recognizes his presence alone is going to force this B side player to turn his attention away from the bomb site itself, and he can look to try and shut these rotations off, instead forcing them through Banana. Pretty quick move being made by Heavy God right now. I don't think Gentlemates will expect that, and Nerds has timed his peak to perfection. Yeah.
Nerds peeking when the second player is crossing rather than peeking for the first player makes such a big difference there, and they're fully aware that Davy G is at full long control. So even though the bomb is down, this one is pretty much impossible. Nerds is going to clear it, and even though he's low HP, gives Davy G no chance. That's Nerds' full control of that round there. As I said, going for the second player first, that's more unlikely for them to realise or be ready for it if he had maybe gone for the swing on the first player crossing. No CT smoke really does not help. I love how Mattis almost flicks up to the ragdoll there. He's like, wait, a player's jumping at me? No,
muscle memory, bro.
That's Artemis blasting off.
I was going to say that as well. He's on Artemis too. Going to go loop round the moon, come back to Earth. Hopefully not in the same sort of fashion. Either way, that is a good recovery from G2. I mean, obviously it was just a bit of a slow start, losing the pistol, and then their 2 force spies afterwards. I say 2 force spies, 1 force, and then 4 saved up forced weapons, and then they've bounced back with 4 on the trot. Notes has looked extremely good. Now, it's a very small sample size. Notes has only played on Inferno twice with G2 so far. He's A whopping 40% entry attempt on the two maps that he's played on the CT side for G2, which just highlights how extremely active he's been. I mean, it's basically him and Sun Pius that have been taking all the early duels on the CT side of this map for G2, and it's exactly what we've seen, right? Nerds over towards Banana, having a hell of a lot of license. Sun Pius with the AWP floating around as well, looking to take early fights and smother Gentlemates.
Yeah, Nertz didn't actually play like as much Inferno as I thought he had on Liquid, which was a bit of a surprise to me when I looked back at the numbers of how many games he played. It's still an okay amount, obviously, and against the best teams in the world, and he didn't do that badly, but especially on what was a very dysfunctional Liquid team, probably still is a dysfunctional Liquid team. But yeah, I think him playing this well early, especially in a tournament for G2 where they're not playing with Hunter. Keep going over it, keep reminding you guys in chat. I'm sure you guys, of course, new people joining all the time. Hunter is injured. There's a cast on his ankle, on his foot, so can't play. And if Nertz, Heavy God, and Mattis all play well, it's going to be very, very difficult for Gentlemates to win, even in this particular scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sun Pius looking composed as well. Good job from him here with the AWP. Everything going according to plan in the eco. Gentlemates get shut down, and now they're gonna have to start to dig a little bit deeper in the playbook to get some rounds back, because obviously they started all right, but they're yet to win a gun round. And if that doesn't change anytime soon, they're heading in the direction of potentially losing this map in the first half.
I mean, G2 haven't started terribly, right? I mean, with Nertz on the team, they managed to win that Star Ladder stake LAN over in Barcelona. Not just to give them confidence for here, but also for the future of what will be the critical IEM Cologne for them. So, to win a trophy already, sure, it was with Hunter, but it shows that they maybe are on the right track. It wasn't against the best teams in the world, don't get me wrong, but it was still teams that they had found a way to lose to previously. I mean, they lost to Sinners in the BC Game Masters, for example, which was a crazy defeat to take. And they also had a very close BO3 of BO3s against Betbu across various lands, which they in the end did win 2-1 in 3 separate BO3s. So they're not comfortably beating Tier 1.5 right now, which is what they need to do as G2.
Well, big moment here in the round. Brawling towards the top of Banana. That Mattis and Nerds combination will work the trick. Heavy God making moves through apartments as well is going to catch Southall completely off guard. These mid-round moves being made by G2 right now certainly making life difficult for Gentlemates. A lot of license for plays to be made on the CT side, which is akin to the normal systems for G2. There generally is license for these types of plays, and it's exactly how they're approaching this game right now. And it's working the trick. Gentlemates struggling to keep their composure with how much is going on as they now set their sights in on this B-bomb side.
Nice.
AWP in conjunction with Davigi. Like you say, audio cue given up. 20 seconds on the clock. Great timing on the flash. Great timing on the swing. And now it's all on Martinez in an impossible 1 versus 4.
And he might not have space to save yet. Look at Heavy God. Here comes a deep nade. Look at Sun Pius, and he's the one to catch his counterpart. His fellow Spanish AWPer, the man who replaced him on Movistar Riders all those years ago. And funnily enough, that was when that replacement was pretty poor. I mean, when Martinez did replace Sun Pius, he did not look that great at all. And then a few years later, after a couple of other stints in some other South American teams for Martinez, he's got progressively better. Now he's definitely one of the AWPers in Tier 2 to really keep an eye on. Very consistent for Gentlemates, but Sun Pius is the OG from Spain, and he's showing him who's boss right now.
Yeah, just different AWP styles between them, right? Martinez is electric, he's volatile, he's flicky, he's fast. And Pius is more stable, but he's certainly flexing his muscles right now. This is a fast-paced approach coming through from Gentlemate, albeit on the pistol. They're looking to flood into this A-bomb site. Sun Pius with a hell of a job to do right now. He's already eliminated 2 from the round. He hasn't realized that one's dropped out of apartments. He's now got some support that's arrived on the scene in the way of Tack, who's good for a frag. Sun Pius is going to miss, but now it's Matties to come through and save the day.
Oh, beautiful. Look at Sun Pius's reaction. You can tell that one was a bit of a messy one for him. He did not feel comfortable there, but it's not just him getting a couple of kills. It's the fact that he stays alive for that long. I mean,
True.
Mattis on the scene from that B-bomb site just in the nick of time to keep Sun Pius alive. How he's managed that, I'm not so sure. Good transfer for Mattis with that A1S. Not many bullets there to get that second kill confirmed. And if he'd missed it, he would have had to pull out the pistol to try and save some pious. And who knows, that could have been the moment where they got overrun a little bit. Now attack to come through. And not tack on G2, a tactical timeout for Gentlemates.
Yeah, 7 rounds in a row for G2. Only 2 rounds left to be played in this first half here for Gentlemates to try and pad up these numbers before they shift to the defensive half of the map. They're struggling in the kill department right now. I mean, they're just lacking, contributions from Mopaz and Salsal in meaningful ways at the moment. I mean, Mopaz is supposed to be that hard entry fragger. You empty Nertz's pocket on stage and Mopaz will fall out at the moment. Salsal is often looked at as the guy who's supposed to give that extra level up with the rifle on this Gentlemates roster. Sometimes he can provide that depth, that X factor that they need, but both players struggling heavily. And if that course doesn't change anytime soon, this ends 9-3, surely G2 have got this in the bag from there.
Yeah, not exactly the path of the game that we thought would be coming through. You mentioned the 7 rounds in a row. We all know what that means. That means that all Gentlemates have gotten in this game is a pistol and a couple of conversions.
Look at the util damage, Trav.
Crazy.
My God. I mean, obviously it is just akin to Inferno in general, but again, Gentlemates, before they've even been able to see a soul or take a duel, a bunch of them have been brought down to around half health. They're going to leave Mopaz posted in towards the top of Banana. And now try and shift the focus in towards the A-bomb site. And well, they get control and then disengage entirely. Only 2 players over towards the A site though, so this is the best option available. Make that only 1. Heavy God's gone down in apartments, and Pius falls backwards. They now know where he is. This is impossible for him to navigate, and there's no support anytime soon. He's got it all by himself, but he's going to get completely overwhelmed, you would imagine. He trades AWP for AK, but goes down immediately after.
Yeah, I think getting that AK immediately was almost the key to finding one more kill and maybe helping Mattis, Nertz, and Tack think about having a look in here. But more often than not, this is a save. Now, they've got lots of money, lots of dollar in that residual bank account for themselves, so they might play a few more aggressive exit kills, try and keep the Gentlemates' money low. There's that AK that almost provided a little bit more for some Pius, and Tack is sticking around, so he's going to be looking for the exits, trying to build up some confidence, get more than 3 kills on the board. Not doing too badly to begin with, though. He's not making any critical errors, and he might not be getting many of the frags. Are they going to go in? No, not now. I was going to say, they were showing utility and trying to... I thought they were considering throwing 1 player in there, but apparently not. Just looking for the exit kills, like I said. Mattis will go down, but it is Nertz to keep himself alive, and Mopaz will grab that AWP. So, really important round for the Spaniards. They'll stay within 3.
Kind of wish they did roll the dice in the retake there. I mean, I know it's super unlikely, and they wouldn't have realized how much rather utility damage they'd inflicted in the round before that. They instead take the safer option of looking for exit kills and then making the next round, the last of the half, a little bit easier for themselves. But with how much money they have in play, I was just thinking, oh, come on then, let's see if you can try and pull the rabbit out the hat. Instead, Gentlemates will snap the streak of 7 as they get a round back. And this one, super important as well, but it's going to have to be done without Mopaz. And Martineza.
Immediate. 3v5 to recover from. That's painful. They do have top mid control and top banana control, but Alex is now forced away from that. That's a really good protocol there from G2. It might be a 5v3, more often than not, and you in your basic games may say, let's bunker down and play from the sites. Usually that is the right call. But here, when they have the utility to force more map control, it should work for them. And Mattis is retaking up the position that Nertz has left. That could be a surprise for Alex. Bottom banana. Gets away with it.
They're living so dangerously right now. Yeah, maybe you can get away with Nertz just trying to hammer the round home, but if Mattis goes down to the AWP, you've almost gifted a way back into the round there for Gentlemates. Mattis going to be that rotator now back in towards the A-bomb site. You've got the crossfire set up between Tack and Heavy God. Tack has been able to kind of coast through the half so far. He's going to take first contact here, though, and try and set up Heavy God.
Missed flash there from Mattis in Library. Catches the edge of the wall, and Davide is going to clear Tack. Now, Heavy God baited in. How many can he get? Now is the only man here. He needs to deliver right here, right now. 25 seconds left in the round. Doesn't track the running Alex. That's crazy. And now, some Pius against his brethren, his friends from the Movistar Riders era in a 1v2 at a good half. Has some Pius, and the sidearm might be the thing to do the job. Because 34 HP on Salsol, 5 on Alex. He's got an HE. Has some Pius, and this 5-7 is so damn doable. Where's this HE going to land? How close is it going to get? It goes into the air like a firework, I'm afraid, and it doesn't catch Alex at all. Some Pius realizes the humor behind that one, but still, even though a bit of a recovery from Gentlemates at the end of the half, it is G2 in slight control. Slight control for G2 at 7-5. Gentlemates do well to find that fifth at the end of the first half in our first map here at Intel Extreme Masters Rio. But it does deserve to be mentioned that 3 of those 5 rounds came from the pistol and the conversions. G2 did dominate most of that half.
I mean, a little bit of a sandwich. The opening 3 and the last 2 there for Gentlemates to amass their 5 rounds. And G2 did blunder, Trav. There was a 3v5 in that last round that got away from them. And listen, Gentlemates are extremely good on the CT side of this map, and G2 tend to struggle quite a lot on the T side of this map. That opening kill, though, from Matisse will certainly help. He has been a monster. 15 kills, and we're only in the 13th round.
Yes, sir. Exactly what G2 needed in a tournament like this when they're not playing with Hunter and when some Pius is having to take up in-game leader duties. You need your Nerts and your Mattis to really deliver when you've got an academy player standing in for the injured Hunter. Look at the peak from Davigi and Mopos, though. Oh, the turnaround is ridiculous. The top banana hold is perfect. Now, some Pius, he might have a full belt of utility on a pistol round of all rounds, but he's in a 1v2, and there's the flank for Martineza. Now, Gentlemates are cooking.
But that's just amazing. Good lord. What a amazing resurgence coming through from Gentlemates and towards the top of Banana there. Just a big wide swing out of the lads there, finding those kills in such quick succession. G2 get the rug pulled right out from underneath them. They plan to just try and simplify the process as much as possible, but this three-man setup just destroys G2. That opening kill doesn't mean a whole lot as Gentlemates now close the gap to just one. Now, I want to highlight Matisse on this T side. T side Inferno is his worst T side out of the entire map pool in terms of maps that G2 actually plays. So he's had a really good CT side so far, but they just lack a lot of firepower and impetus on the T side of Inferno in general, and some of that is down to the big drop-off from Matisse. You're not going to be getting a whole lot out of attack. You don't have your IGL. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about G2 to try and finish this off on the attacking half.
Yeah, they're going to need their individuals to step up, like you said. That is the main condition. And unfortunately for G2, right, that is something that's been very hard for them to rely on in general. As I said, they won that tournament over in Barcelona at stake. But, you know, if you look at other games that G2 have played against actually opponents they should be fighting close against, they lost that crazy BO3 to Sinners over in the BC Game Masters Championship. They've lost to Foot, they've lost to Aurora, they've lost to Spirits. They're not near those teams right now. And, yeah, that has to be a concern for them, especially when they're seeing how incredible Paravision have been this year, and now Foot are reaching that level 2. Like, a lot of these established organizations, and it's the conversation I'm going to get in later when we cover Falcons versus 3D Max, but so many of these established orgs are being overtaken by these young upstarts right now.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It certainly is a bit of like a shifting in the guard in that regard. Foot definitely one of those teams that's moving and shaking things up at the moment. As we get into the first gun round of the second half, AKs across the board. Look at the bonus buy for Gentlemates. They've got money on all 5, 2 MP9s and a FAMAS. This is prime real estate for G2 to actually get their first round on the board. If they can't convert round 15, they're in deep water going into the rest of the half.
Martineza boosted up on the short balcony. Yeah, and as you say, the bonus round for Gentlemates, that would be a crazy one to grab at this stage. Really would put G2 on the back foot all of a sudden. Got banana control fully right now, with Alex still jump spotting half wall. Pause there in support. These two have been playing with each other for a very, very long time. Sure, Alex had that little break when he went off to in-game lead NIP. Unfortunately, didn't go too well. And he's back playing with his Spaniards again.
Didn't count, did it?
Indeed. Okay,
only now does your time on NIP start counting. Like you say, though, there's moves being made here.
They've left Mopos behind the sandbags. Alex has just decided, look, if you die, you die. Mopos has managed to get the 1, but now he needs to somehow get more, and the bomb is still bottom ramp, by the way. There are 25 seconds left in this round, and that bomb is only just being retrieved. It's a very laboured gun round here for G2. Martinez is going to find Heavy God, and that bomb is going into a B, but if we get a hide here from Alex, and at least 1 kill, it's a bit whiffy, but he gets it, and that's going to waste enough time for Tak to be last alive with that bomb. Messy opening gun round from G2.
Yeah, I'm not even entirely sure there was much of a game plan in that round, to be honest with you, because you've got a player fighting up Banana and a player fighting up top mid at the same time, and I get that maybe you're trying to take control simultaneously, but it didn't feel like either was really supported or set up to actually stand much of a chance of A, winning a duel, or B, getting the control. They both go down, and all of a sudden they're just scrambling to try and figure out a plan. Then you've got a player in apartments who's like, maybe I can get an in on this A bomb site. You've got a player who's pushing into B. They're both just trying to create an option option. But again, same as in the earlier stage of the round, neither of them have a really good chance of actually getting a foothold in on the bomb site that they're attacking. So that was all over the place and trying to do a lot at the same time, but none of it really having the best chance of finding success.
Now, these are the rounds that matter for Gentlemates. The gun rounds, winning a bonus buy, fantastic. But if you can't convert against Tech 9s, it's all in vain, and what's the point? So, these are very, very losable. You do have control of the entire map still right now, though. They've still got fully information on Banana. Mopaz will now see what's going on with that Molotov flying in. He won't fight for it too long. He knows it's a low buy for G2 in this round. Fighting a Tech 9 alone would be a very, very bad idea. And he's going to wait for his rotation of Alex to come through.
I'm not a fan of this at all. When you know you're playing against a low buy, you don't need to gamble. You do not need to try and get ahead of the round and play a 4-1. Rather, just make sure that you're covering both sides appropriately. Now, that smoke is going to ice Alex out the side. It's a really good flash to have blinded up Mopaz, but because of the kill on Alex, he's given Mopaz at least on life, who will regain his vision, regain control, and at least get himself a kill before he inevitably goes down. Tak will successfully path his way into the shadows. Bomb plant going to be secured as well, but it's going to be a really difficult post plant to hold on to, especially with Heavy God, who needs a lot of time from his teammates to actually get in on the action here as well.
Exactly, and he's Tech 9 long range. What can Heavy God do with this? Keep an eye on that CT wrap right now. He needs some guys to fight and or stay alive. It's okay damage, but Tak's down and Heavy God's been spotted. There is no way you can do anything from this one now. Some kills would be nice. He's jiggling out these ones pretty nicely, to be fair, but as we can see, the bomb is being defused. There was never a chance to actually win the clutch, and Gentlemates' lead is 2.
Yeah, and they're just 4 rounds away from winning their map pick all of a sudden. I spoke about how they've got an extremely good CT side, and you add that to the fact that G2 tend to struggle a lot on the T side. It does not stack up very well for G2 as things stand. Not yet off the mark on the attacking half. We got a technical pause here, so no chance for any comms to be coming through here to maybe try and change up the way that this game is going so far. And nothing really for G2 to try and fall back on. It's not like they've really been getting any major success in any parts of the map so far. I mean, sure, they got banana control in the previous, but that's more because it was given up by Gentlemates. So it's not like they've got something that they can try and fall back onto and then build upon going into the next round.
And in a way, this... I mean, look, G2 could easily come back and still win this map and the series comfortably. You never know. But in a way, this is not really that much of a surprise. If you're not playing with a player who maybe has only missed like 2 or 3 games in, 1,150 maps it is on G2, and Hunter, who's injured, then things are going to look a bit messy. T-sides, in particular, are going to look a bit questionable when some Pius, who is interim in-game leading, not sure he's ever in-game led a team previously, even back in his old roots in Movistar Riders. So, yeah, this is maybe the main reason why it's looking so rough at the moment.
And they're playing with the stand-in who's from an academy team that has just leveled up like 1 billion levels in terms of going from that level to now playing at IEM Rio, an S-tier event with the best teams in the world. And Nerds just joined the team a couple weeks ago, so they're also trying to blood a new player into the mix. So there's so many moving parts to this at the moment. This is where Saw's got to find some sort of a solution. He's got to come up with a game plan here. You don't want to rely on Sun Pius having to find the solution for the team, considering that he is still very new in this role and it's just taking it up as a temporary solution. This is where it's got to be on Saw. Just try and give them some advice, give them some guidance, give them an in the round, so that they can try and get the ball rolling here in Rio on this T side of Inferno.
Yeah, and to give you an idea of what the last team that Tak would have played against is, they played against Unity, Mikey, Kafida, Woozy, Morisco, and Neofrag. Now, we know those guys. Neofrag mentioned. We know those guys. If the only player you guys in chat know is Neofrag, I'm not surprised, because that is an example of how different a level it is for Tak to play, especially on LAN in Brazil. Big travel day for him. And probably wouldn't have known so soon either, right? So
And he's got sharp mechanics, but that's only going to get you so far. I mean, you got to think about the strats, the layering of utility, the spacing, the game plans coming through from Gentlemates are all on a level that Tak would just not have ever seen before. I mean, so much utility damage done. I love the aggression from WG at the start of the round off the back of the tech into the Tak pauses as well. It meant that G2 were trying to come into round with the game plan, and they're just being disrupted across the board here by Gentlemates right now, who are looking to make plays, stifle the round here and shut G2 down. And they're just going to cluster together with these 3 remaining players in towards the top of middle, but this space has been given up to them. They haven't taken the space yet. 1 smoke, 2 flashes left remaining here and 44 seconds on the clock.
Pius pushing down. He'll get taken by Alex comfortably. Heavy God goes down to Martineza, and they could be about to win a gun round with the majority of their players alive. Yes, sir. 10-7. G2 have enough money for some kind of scrapped together buy. Pots and pans, maybe. I mean, they can get Galils and utility. That might be what they have to do at 7-10 behind. And yeah, it looks like Gentlemates are on track to keep their incredible 2026 Inferno record intact.
It also feels like G2 are lacking some vibes at the moment, man. Like, where's the energy going to come from when the team is down like this? I mean, Matisse, Heavy God, generally pretty, like, quiet, stoic guys. Sun Pius, when the mood is good, obviously he's got that, like, Spanish demeanor where he can be quite jovial and upbeat, but maybe frustration could start to creep in. Nerds generally seems fairly reserved as well. Tax, obviously, not going to want to step out of line at all. I feel like they need someone to just try and improve the mood a bit, yeah, and obviously that would normally be Hunter.
Yeah,
so not only are they lacking that in-game direction, but also just some good vibes, man.
I mean, it's funny because the vibes look great. I mean, 7-5 half.
Yeah, when they're winning.
It could have been a lot better. I mean, some players didn't complete that clutch at the end of the half, but he was laughing and joking with Mattis and looking like he was having a whale of a time. But yeah, exactly. They haven't won a bloody round since. That makes a big difference to your mood. 5 in a row for Gentlemates. Who would have thought that when you're not playing with your main in-game leader, you can't win a T round? Let's see if they can finally win one on this low buy.
Setting themselves up for an explosion in towards this B bomb site. Well-timed smoke grenade there from Alex, and you still have an incendiary on Mopaz as well to chain this utility together. G2 not looking to respect it. Mopaz maybe a little bit preemptive on the use of the incendiary. He just hears 1 smoke coming through and he immediately deploys it. So at least G2 have been able to bleed all of the utility off of these B-bomb site players as they now look to set this round in motion and get a move on. It's going to be down to Sun Pius on that hero AK who's taking quite a lot of damage. It's Alex to take first contact. He's got Mopaz behind him. This double layered setup, hoping it goes unchecked, but the trade there from Tak as G2 get control.
Yeah, big one from Tak. He might only have 5 kills, and we can't blame him for that on his debut, but like any important frag like that, even if it's just a rundown trade with a Tech 9, they do mean something. And it's a kill that's probably going to force Salsol, Martineza, and Davi G away here. They're definitely committing to the save now with Salsol's position. They can play exit kills. They've got money to do that, to try and limit G2's money, because of course, if they win the round, which they are going to, on what is that half investment, that does give that money a little bit of a bonus if you keep players alive, especially with grabbed AKs. And with some players finding Salsol, they're a lot safer bottom banana. So all 4 will stay alive. G2, this is a lifeline. Gentlemates might be a solid team. They might be a great team at the top of tier 2. But you know, G2 will be thinking to themselves, even with the situation we're in, we should not be losing right now.
Yeah, a lot of space was given up on that B bomb site by both Mopaz and Alex, though, by playing in towards Coffins. There was no contact taken when G2 pushed to the choke point initially, and it just allows them to run riot at that point. Big wide swing to pull the crosshair off the angle and just trying to overwhelm Mopaz once he's the last player left alive at that point. It's a big lease on life for G2, but it doesn't mean all that much if they can't actually build off the back of that and win another round here. At least at a minimum, they have built themselves up a bit of a financial buffer, so if they lose this one, they can afford a reinvestment. It's not like it's completely tickets on Inferno, but there's still heaps of money here for Gentlemates as well, who are still in complete control.
Martinez going for the bottom banana pick, and Nert's gone already. A little bit too much of a jiggle from Nert's. That's all you need to give up to Martinez to hit that shot. And look at that nade on Mattis and Heavy God. Goodness me. That is significant ouchies. Top middle. Trying to use that Molotov to force Martinez back away toward B. Southsol, do you see the pushed up Mattis underneath the balcony there? I'm not so sure, but again, they're just feeding Martinez and Banana right now. That's 2 very easy kills for him. Now it forces them into the A bomb site. Not really much more they can do other than try and press the issue here. And Davy G on the site with the AK. Got a good crossfire with Southsol.
Oh, wow.
Davy G may go down, but Southsol will hold on for his 1 kill, and it's very even trades, exactly how it should go down. And that is Gentlemates on to 11, 2 away.
Everything going according to plan for Gentlemates in that round. Martinez are doing a brilliant job with the AWP, just peering down Banana, finding that first frag for free, maintains the control, and he even gets another kill as well. It's Pius who tries to force that CT AWP back, and then that really leaves G2 without any option besides grouping up, trying to push up short and get onto the A bomb site. But at that point, Gentlemates know exactly what's going on. They've got a really good idea, so they're set up accordingly. They've got that beautiful triangulation set up, Pep Guardiola style, with some tiki-taka pinging contact off of one another, getting the trades necessary and getting themselves within touching distance of dealing that decisive blow.
Yeah, only lost 1 game on Inferno in 2026, have Gentlemates, and sure, they're not playing against the best opposition in the world, but some of them are decent. I would say half of them are very good results. They did lose their only game on it last time out against Big in that tournament where Big won to qualify for the major, qualify for Cologne, their home major. Oh, Martinez sitting in the fire to try and get that frag down to 76. No one will peek him. Mopos staying very assertive, top Banana, and they've done that throughout pretty much the entire half. But that 1 round you mentioned, where they played a little bit more defensively, and guess what? That's the 1 round they lost.
And that's maybe even a good little reminder for them to continue to be proactive, take initiative. That's what's been working well for them so far here on this CT side. And that's what I mentioned in the pregame, is what I wanted to see from Gentlemates on the CT side here against G2 across the series, is trying to disrupt G2, because you know without their IGL, they're going to struggle to come up with solutions on the fly. So you want to pose these questions and cause these issues. It is going to be Alex with a bit of a surprising approach to the duel there. I think that might be Nerds' first frag on the T side, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a really important kill, as G2's backs are firmly against the wall.
Martinez, I think, has heard some rotations, so we saw some furious communicating there. Is he ready for what is this top middle push? Flash will come in. Can he avoid it? Oh, we're not going for a flash. We're going for a pure jump, and that's Mattis down. Good repositioning. Classic AWP angle for Martinez. They don't have anything. I mean, Heavygod's got 1 flash, but he's not really in a position to use it right now. Now, can they surround Gentlemates on this side? Oh, Martinez is going for every pick in the right direction right now. He's looking for more, flicking around, doing such a brilliant job for his team. And some Pius, last alive, tap on the bomb, 10 seconds, not going to happen. Surely he's going to get flanked by Mopos. 12-8, they're 1 away.
And Martinez wants him to hear it as well. It's been a brilliant CT side. Great job from him to find that second kill. I mean, the first frag kind of ordinary, but the fact that he gets another kill before he inevitably gets overwhelmed and goes down is a brilliant return from him there. And you could see he just hesitated for half a second or a second before he commits to the duel, and then he just goes balls to the walls, all in. Look at how he just swings out into the open here. He knows he's going to die, but he just wants to get 1 more kill before he does, to make up for the fact that he loses his life. And from there, he's bought enough time for the rotations. I felt like G2 missed their window of opportunity, which closed about 5, 6, 7 seconds before that. And now, Gentlemates have 4 chances to win their map pick and open up their run here at Rio.
1 T round. Who would have thought it when you don't play with your in-game leader? Turns out those IGLs are kind of important. 3-man push, top Banana. Trying to get full control of it again. Is my boss going to try and get that jump over toward the top of half wall? Looks like he wants to try it, but staying put for now. Oh no, it's just about pushing back into the cubby. They're going to push down now. That catches off Martinez, but he doesn't. No, there are 2 more where that came from. Might not matter. Alex actually got tack, but Nertz is able to get the kill in return. And now Mopos is the man to hold on. They're going to try and put pressure on Mopos. They know there can't be more than 1 more player on B. It has to only be Mopos. But with the AWP, it might just work out for him. He's managed to find Mathis. Now still holds on against Heavy God. And again, Some Pious is last alive in a clutch. 1v3. And I'm not sure this is going to be happening. It will not be happening. Easy kill for Mopoz. Hunter's leg died for this.
Never a wounded one, but I have been walking through the Kruger Park before and came across a lone male buffalo, and they are very dangerous. So we very quickly turned the opposite direction and went the other way.
I would say that is smart. Let's see if G2 can put on a smarter performance than Inferno coming in here. The last time I watched G2 on Mirage, I think it was this. I'll double check it quickly, but I think it was a game in Pro League up against. It probably would have been Foot. Yes, it was Foot, and we know Foot are so damn good on Mirage. I'll get back to that point in a second because we've got the fighting connector coming through. Martinez and Alex will hold on already. Nertz has been able to return with one, and Heavy God's actually tapped down Salsal and Alex as well through the corner of that smoke, which is pretty impressive considering where he was actually playing from. They know Nertz is in con, but with the Heavy God damage, they've been able to get a plant on A. Mopoz does get that tapped back, so this 2v2 is very much on. And look at the utility still on Gentlemates here. HE on Devi G, Incendiary on Mopoz with a defuse kit, but it might not mean anything as Tack will get a first kill, and there's Nertz with a follow-up. So G2 start better than map 1.
Brilliant little two-piece there from Heavy God to open up A. Fantastic multi-kill there coming from Nertz in on middle. They're able to connect the dots perfectly in on that A bomb site. The split works the trick, and it will be G2 who open up. And I was going to say they're prolific in pistol rounds on this map. They've got like a 65% win rate in pistol rounds, which is insane. I mean, pistol rounds are extremely volatile and very difficult to be consistent in. Conversely, Gentlemates struggle a lot in the pistol rounds of Mirage, so it's not surprising at all to see it going down in that fashion. And I'll even add on that without them having the IGL and the struggles they've had on the T side already, winning a pistol round is a great way to start off their campaign in this first half.
It is indeed. Yeah, we'll see if that helps them. One of the things that I was trying to bring up before the action went down in bottom con is a chance this round's not live. Yes, I hear the ticks in the chat. That probably means not live. Alex has dropped, so I have more time to talk about it now. I watched G2 play against Foot at Pro League. It was one of the games I did on my co-streams for the event, I think. And I'll tell you what, I mean, G2, we know what Foot are like. They are the most aggressive, crazy W key team with, you know, good limitations on that too, to temper that aggression in the scene right now. They're incredibly exciting, and they adore Mirage. It was the map that really put them on the entire map of the global map of the CS scene. But G2 owned them 13-4. That was with Morbs, but every single duel G2 took in that map, they won. It was absolutely insane. They were literally not missing a beat. Whatever Foot tried to do, getting in their face, playing defensive, any sort of call did not work. And that is exactly the kind of game that this G2 can deliver with their individual ability. But, you know, now things have changed with Hunter not here temporarily. It's these sort of games that G2 can find a way to lose, unfortunately, because if they needed that individual ability to win that one, if they're even 10% off today, they'll be punished.
Yeah, and you know, can't not notice. Obviously, we always expected it to be very difficult for Tack, but he did struggle a lot on Inferno. What he ended with, I think, 5 kills on that map there in total across both halves, 6 actually. So he really struggled to get going. So there's already going to be a bit of a, you know, struggle in that regard. Not as much of a contribution from that corner. But in general, like you say, that this is a map where their individuals tend to fire on all cylinders. It's a really good map for both Heavy God and Matties. Heavy God on the T side seems to really enjoy his time and his roles on this map as well. But like you highlight, they have to all be at their best. If they even have a minor drop-off, they're going to have problems to try and bridge that gap of missing their captain at the moment.
And yeah, and with Hunter, they have lost against teams that you could argue they shouldn't be losing against. Sinners at the BC Game Masters Championship 1917 and BetBoom at Roman Imperium Cup 1311. And it shows you that some of these tier 2 teams are working their way up to possibly contend in majors, which of course BetBoom and Sinners now will be doing. I know pushovers. Look at their results for G2 on Mirage. It's loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. So they're losing here, right?
I mean, that's what the trend would suggest, but when I'm trying to do it with my crypto, it hasn't worked nearly as well, so I'm a little bit shy from committing to that. Either way, yeah, Gentlemates have been banged out a couple of times on Mirage. You know, they lost 13-6 to Betboom, 13-5 to Eyeballers as well. I mean, we know that Eyeballers have been in some decent form lately, but that is a heavy one-sided loss. 13-9 to Hotu, who are very good on Mirage. So, you know, with all of those things in mind, it does feel like G2 should have Mirage in the bag to be able to force a decider. But obviously they were super underwhelming in that second half of Inferno in particular. I think when I ran the numbers, they got 16 kills in total on that T side across 9 rounds that were played. So they weren't even averaging 2 kills per round in that second half on Inferno.
Yeah, and that probably saying that's a concern would be an understatement. So we'll see what they can do. Alex, this is a reminder, was the player that dropped from the server. Getting him logged back in ASAP. Obviously has to retrieve his phone from the magical box.
Black box.
And then give it back to ESL. Back to the admin.
Black box contains all the secrets.
Indeed. That referee won't be allowing any funny business, I'll tell you that.
It does look like they're making some progress and getting him back into the server, so we should be getting underway again momentarily. Of course, we can gloss over what happened on the A stream or what's going down. Of course, we have got the Kings who have opened up there against Red Canids. They completely destroyed Red Canids 13-4. Red Canids obviously started on the T side after having picked nukes. That was always going to be really difficult for them. And now on Overpass, well, unfortunately, it's not going any better.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Red Canids in a way because it was a special journey for them. They came all the way from the open qualifier to this event and then are greeted with the GOATs. So what can you do? That was never
I think for them just being here, though, is what it's about, right? Them just getting to feature at the event, them having qualified for this tournament, that would have been the goal. That's been ticked off the list. Once then you think, oh, boys, we're in Rio. Okay, cool. Let's see our opening. Oh, it's okay. So we'll start this run in the lower bracket then.
Yeah. It's like these incredible, young tennis players who are going to try and qualify for a Grand Slam. You qualify for the French Open. Oh, I'm playing Rafael Nadal. Oh, I qualified for Wimbledon. Oh, I'm playing Roger Federer. Like, not really much you can do in round 1, I'm afraid.
Take it in your stead and make the most of it as we now will stride back on into the action between G2 and Gentlemates. It's a force buy here from Gentlemates, and they're already down a Sousal.
I'd prefer to be +1 Sousal rather than -1 Sousal, I think. Mattis has got those new gloves from that most recent update. Look like gardening gloves. Look at those. Gorgeous.
Not much of a skin cell myself, but I can appreciate a nice pair of gloves when I see them.
All right, let's see.
Opening Frank found nice and early on that A-bomb site, and they're going to use that to then execute into the weaker side of the map. Gentlemates haven't actually adjusted the setup off the back of that early kill. Martinez has been spotted in CT, and now he's been tagged down as well. He should get overwhelmed, just peppered through the box. G2 assume full control on course for a 2-0.
Yep, no Salsal, now no Martinez. That scout is dropped in CT. They're just going to try and keep their turn P9s and Deagle into this one. For G2, even if this event, even if this series and event goes awry, they're not going to be feeling too bad about it because they know what they're having to deal with. Having to incorporate TAC as he gets the kill on WG. Got a bit of anti-force by kill confidence. Go down to Mophos here though, and won't. Good spin around. Actually keeps all his utility up as well. That could be impactful for a little extra dollar to keep hold of.
And inflicting extra economic damage on Gentlemates. So if they're barely going to have anything to work with in round 3, should be G2 storming to a 3-0 start here. Good way to kick off their campaign and put those demons to bed with what had happened on the previous map.
And as I said earlier, that G2 coming off a tournament win in Barcelona. So, wasn't beating the best teams in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but it's confidence and knowing that they've got a good level above that tier 1.5 competition if they need it, which we all know they should have. With Nertz in
And that's what
play.
Gentlemates are at, right?
Yeah, exactly. And with Nertz in play, you'd hope they'll be able to show more. And Nertz can personally show more. Now, under the Saw tutelage again from the Ents and Heroic days, we know how good he was back in those two teams, those two organizations, when they swapped a few. So, need to see him step up, especially on a tournament where they're a little bit wounded. Mattis and Nertz and Heavy God are the main three you need to look at. But right now, Tak is leading the way alongside Nertz. And Tak could be getting a few more as well because there's a full eco still to eat up in round 3.
I wonder what the style of calling is going to be like here from Sunpius, whether he's going to just try and draw from the playbook that has been left for him in Hunter's stead, or whether he's going to just try and keep things far more simple so that he doesn't have to worry too much about the minutiae and the finer details. I mean, obviously, they're still trying to blood Nertz into the team as well, so you're going to be kind of limited for depth in that regard, and obviously it's his first outing as an IGL as well, so you'd imagine the simpler approach would be easier to manage and navigate, but there'll definitely be some plays that they can just fall back on that they've been crafting over the past few months that you could just, call that type of a strat and everybody knows what's required over it. They would have run Tak over the playbook as well, so I think it'll probably be like a little bit of a combination of the two.
Yeah, I believe Tak was the highest rated player for G2 Ares on the time that he played for them. And he'd been on the team for quite a long time, actually in various iterations of the G2 Ares Academy team. But yeah, I think he's also one of these players from Lithuania, and right now, kind of a crazily strong scene that Lithuania have. I mean, you may remember they won that IESF type tournament. I think it was called EESF last year.
Yeah.
And I think Rio and Jugs was on that team with Magila, if me serves me correctly. And there's a few people in chat who are Tak supporters. I see you, who will know those players and Tak himself very well. I see a guy called Toy in chat, and he is a former teammate of Tak, I believe, when I looked back through his history.
I think he might be a coach now, if I'm not mistaken.
He's a coach, correct.
Yeah.
The Astral
roster. Yeah. I mean, I remember names like Esperanto and Nookie when they came into the mix in like the crazy days. Nookie.
Nookie might mean something else, I think, Matt. I don't know.
Depends where in the world you are. Nookie, that's the one either way. I've been casting him the other day, so
yes.
Forgive me, my brother. Anyway, we're back underway once again. Gun round, a chance here for Gentlemates to get the engine turning over. Open play for Martineza. Fairly limited utility. And they're already looking to try and take initiative and do battle in towards middle. Assert themselves to a degree. But they're not going to hang around for too long, and that means G2 can start to assume some control.
Oh. Start. Martinez will easily find Nertz, and now it's the time for Gentlemates to start delivering on this CT side with their full buy coming through. Utility being swapped over to Sunpius. Who's going to be the man to throw all of that coming through now? That window smoke will land, and sure, Tak still has that Mach 10. Don't count G2 out even in a 4v5. Pretty normal setup right now, to be fair, for Gentlemates. You've got Martinez, CT, you've got one more player under Balk, mollied out nice low, and Tak actually hits that double headshot really cleanly. HE towards CT does decent damage to Alex. That might afford them a plant.
Nicely scaled forward here from G2 so far to make this one work. Matty's going to get caught off by Mopars coming through from lowers, though. You wouldn't be expecting that dual two-man advantage here for Gentlemates to get things going, and Tak has a moment on the attack. He's able to find 2 kills. Very low on health, and Mopars will round on Sunpius. Not hurt on the jump up into snipers means he will round on his Spanish countryman, and Tak gets burnt out the round. Good little flurry from him, but it's Gentlemates who open up their account.
As a Brit, it's very common for Brits to enjoy supporting the underdog. Tak was the underdog in that clutch by a country mile. He could have probably the deepest dog you've ever seen in your life. That was a 3 HP 1v2 again in his first ever Tier 1 tournament, and he almost made it happen. That was a great attempt. And now he's got some confidence to build on.
Yeah, exactly where I was going with it as well. Start to settle in. You can see him checking the notes, giving some thoughts as well, settle him into the game. You want to make the most of this opportunity because you never know when it's going to come again, if it's ever going to come again. So you want to be super present and soak it all in. Not get too caught up in the moment and overwhelmed by the occasion. Gentle mates, though, courtesy of Martinez in the previous, got things going this time, flexing his muscles in terms of his opening options from spawn into Palace. First blood drawn and a 5v4 ensues.
Another move by Martinez to find an opening kill. Thing is, are they expecting Heavy God just to wander out of Palace right now? It's a very random timing and they have no clue. Shift down the ladder to stay silent. He knows one's there. He might see both and he lines up both. Brilliant awareness from Heavy God. And it completely cracks open the A-bomb site.
Oh, just awesome game sense there from Heavy God, recognizing the opportunity that presents itself when Nertz goes down in Palace. He doesn't shy away. In fact, he capitalizes on that window of opportunity. Problem is, or was, that his 3 teammates who have rotated across, or at least 2 of them, were in top middle. So it's taken them quite long to get you, but it doesn't matter when Heavy God continues to do the heavy lifting.
Here he goes. He got that sick quad kill from Pit on Inferno. Unfortunately, while the round wasn't in vain, the map was. Here, it will assert G2 into a 4-1 lead. That's all Heavy God, and that's what he's all about. When he was, in the old days of his career, we used to watch him all the time on mixed teams and Endpoint and OG. He's always kind of a cut above in those teams. Look at this. Perfect maneuverability.
Goes back even further than that for me to that Iron Branch squad was when he first came onto the radar when I had come across him, and that was with guys like, well, some guys who haven't been painted in the best light since then, so I guess it's best not to be giving them the time of day on the broadcast, but guys like Masvel, Sad, Yeki as well, who's over in that Favbet roster. That was when I'd first kind of come across Heavy God and was like, yeah, this guy's special. He's got it with the rifle and he's really honed his game since then. I mean, really, that round was all him. Recognizing the opportunity that had presented itself and then stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think of those players you listed, Masval is the one that I thought at the beginning of the year was one to watch. He's been around for a while, but he's recently qualified for Astana, I believe, with that Magic team. So I'm sure there are some Tier 2 knowers in chat who are aware of him. He's definitely a talent. But Heavy God's the man to watch right now. Up to 9 kills already. Full control, my friend.
Absolutely. And keeping Gentlemates on the back foot at the start of Mirage, who are now going to have to settle for another save. I mean, they've been able to at least scrounge together a little bit of firepower here, but really not a whole lot. Great start to the T side. We saw some massive struggles on the T side of Inferno, but it's a completely different complexion here on Mirage. If you're WG, you got to be the man. Yet to get a kill here on the map, but he's the one with the M4. Got to find a way to try and insert himself into the round and find some early impact.
Yeah, and that is what Martinez has been doing, but doesn't have the AWP this time to do exactly what we've been seeing from him in the last couple of rounds. Little boost in window, a bit more of an elevated angle to check under for Davy Balcony clear, thanks to the molly from G2. Bombs still in spawn, they haven't made their mind up yet. They know that it could be a bit of a weird, funky buy on the Gentlemate side. So no reason to throw in a body early for no reason.
Just taking their time here, RG2, right? Just playing with a bit of caution. This has been a staple so far on this T side, is throwing some later utility in towards middle, but actually pretty infrequently looking to try and capitalize on the space with that util. Instead, it's to try and create diversions and then shift into this A bomb site. This has been their bread and butter. Show presence early in middle, shift out of mid, execute into A. Gentlemates have caught wind of this. It's a well-placed nade that will do some chip damage. Salsa looks to try and do a bit more with that from us. You've got a couple players sneakily positioned in on this A bomb site at the moment, and the pistols will prevail for a couple of kills. WG in on the act as well, and this is where the round could start to spin out of control. It's only Tack left remaining with 20 seconds on the clock. It's Mopaz behind Triple, who will go undetected and will step out, enables his teammate, and Gentlemates win the life buy.
Oh, straight into the Spanish blender, and that might create some tasty meals, but that one is overcooked for G2. That was painful to watch. Way too many angles to worry about on that A-site push. And poor Tak left in an impossible 1v3 at the end, not even aware that Mopos had taken up that reposition around triple. So many. I mean, even the one kill from Martinez on the Deagle makes such a big difference there. Just relaxes things for the other Gentlemates players, but that is a duel we haven't seen much of so far in this series. A straight heads-up 1v1 between Sumpius and Martineza, and this time Sumpius wins it.
Well, expecting WG underneath Palace, though, he's going to be able to save his teammate but only for a moment, as Heavy God forces his way through Connector, doubles down on entry duty, as G2 again are going to bounce back immediately after having lost a round.
That happens so much, right? I mean, even when it's an annoying round, you may look back on later in the demo review and say, oh god, like, what have we done there? The bounce back round is what's more often than not the most important thing, and they've made that one look pretty comfortable. Bomb can now come through on A. Mopars and Salsol have to save. If they do save, they can easily drop a gun from Mopars onto Alex, who will need it, and Daviji's got 5,900 in the bank, so no issues for a purchase.
I love the acceleration here, the change of pace from G2, just a blistering start to the round with a lot of pressure in on that A bomb side immediately, just looking to try and cross and pressure stairs into jungle. At the meantime, you've got that player who's just charged and surged up middle into Connector, and Gentlemates just get completely overwhelmed by the aggressive approach there from the T side. Really cool to see that they can also piece those sorts of rounds together. It's going to be a big boost of confidence for them as they now are in full control of their map pick. And I'm not sure if that was a call out of Spawn or if that was because of Sumpius getting that opening frag onto Martinez. That might have been the cue that had really set that round in motion with the way that they decided to approach it.
And who knows, really, right, as well, because with Sumpius as the interim in-game leader for this event, like, he might try less elaborate things to make it a little bit more comfortable for him. So just pure map feel and map knowledge from years and years of playing Mirage. No, decades probably even. I'm sure that might be just what he's deciding to go for to make it less stressful on him as well as anything else. So we'll see if that's the case or not. Anyway, 5-2 is the lead for G2. Heavy God's putting in a sterling performance, and Tak is currently 8-2. Confidence for him will be growing round by round, and just not just confidence but comfort in what is his first tier 1 LAN, and first time I think anywhere in a country away from EU, if I'm not mistaken.
Wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
People forget that about young players coming through. It's why, Donk was such a phenom when he came through to begin with, because he just took to tier 1 travel and owning everyone like a duck to water.
Yeah, he is Counter-Strike. Cuts him and he bleeds CS. Martineza, again, he has been the foundation of Gentlemate's success in the past 2 rounds they've won so far. He's got an opening kill here on the crown jewel of Heavy God. He's found a tag in on Tak, and it will be another frag out of him. Alex gets in on the act. Matty's caught in transition, and it's a really well-contained round here from Gentlemates. They were happy to concede that control into middle initially, prioritize those choke points then from middle in towards the bomb sites. They take that advanced setup over at ramp once again, where last time they were caught off by that unorthodox push and the offbeat timing push from Heavy God out of Palace. This time they don't have to deal with that threat, and it all works out according to the plan.
Yeah, maybe that was a little bit more of one of those elaborate calls from G2, which is just hard to put into practice when you've had so little time for Sumpius anyway. And as we said earlier, just for clarity for those of you watching, so you know, Nertz is helping with the secondary calling. So, it's not something that, both those two players have helped with secondary calling in teams gone by, but for Sumpius, definitely first time primary calling. So T sides, look, 5 rounds on the board is okay for a team without an in-game leader. Let's see if they can get any more.
Yeah. Thing is, they got 5 out of the 7, so they're
Exactly.
gonna want to maybe get like one more. Ideally, they win the half from that position. If Gentlemates can limit them to 5, they'd be extremely happy with that recovery. Yet to win consecutive rounds, though, are the Spaniards here on Mirage. Can they buck that trend? Martineza does miss, proving he's human. Double AWP setup in play. Davigi wielding that second over in apartments. Martinez has been a firecracker. He's going to advance forward here in the dying stages of the round.
Oh, it's dangerous. Heavy God's in a very similar position to when he crept down the ladder in one of those previous rounds and got that overall very clean quad kill. And yeah, they're going to maneuver in toward ramp now. Utility will be thrown in, and Martinez knows this is where he has to deliver. And look at Nertz creeping around the corner of the smoke. Heavy God does find the entry, but there's Mattis coming up from Con. Martinez is more stuck than the stuck thing, and there's no way out.
Oh.
What a tap on short. That is what Mattis is all about. His first 3 kills of the game, by the way, all of them are clean.
Oh, get wrecked, WG, with the yaw posted on the long line. Mattis does not care. He just rips his head right off. Sure, Mopaz gets 1 in the 1v3, but he takes a hell of a lot of damage in the process. Second chance will get him up and get him out of dodge, looking to try and salvage that sniper on WG's body. Yeah, Martinez was live by the sword, died by the sword in that position, and unfortunately for him, his teammate went down empty-handed, which just left him in a spot where he was never going to be able to get out with his life intact. Got a kill, but genuinely no more opportunity to find anything more than that frag with how he gets wrapped around from connector. Just pressure from all angles. He ends up being crushed, and again, G2 will bounce back after losing a round.
And again, it was instigated by a Heavy God entry. Here's a tap from Mattis, by the way. See ya! Next round.
Yeah. Wouldn't want to be off the back of that one, man. God damn.
That's the kind of explosivity that Mattis possesses. Seen it so many times for Fnatic and on G2. Quite a bit, and that's one of the main things that I've been impressed with Mattis, right? You know, he's not really fallen off massively from how he played in Fnatic. It's a very similar Mattis, which is very important for G2.
He's been really stable. He's been a very stable player for the team, as you highlight. He's been stable at a high level as well. His mechanics always look extremely sharp. He's got that like X factor about him where he can just blow rounds wide open. You know, if you give him a little bit of space as well, he can be that playmaker that you need to make something out of nothing and give the team a way into a round. Now, Gentlemates need a way back into the half, and that requires winning round 10. If they lose this one here, then I think they start to tread deep waters and could be on the brink of their head slipping below the water, because they'd have to eco if this one doesn't go their way. And that puts them quite far behind the game on the favored side of the map.
Nertz and Heavy God in Palace again. Mopaz playing on the balcony for now. That Molotov shouldn't catch him. That's the lineup that will be maneuvering under Balk, but the smoke actually catches it. So that's big for Mopaz. Oh, he's made noise. That's a shame. Nertz has heard it very clearly. You can tell by the way he's looking. They know there's a player inside of that smoke. Mopaz is still not being cleared properly, though. He's done really well to find one. Drop into the sandwich from Alex. He finds one of his own. How is Mopaz still alive? Finally he activates. Bomb on the floor. What's going on? Almost another one. And it's all down to Martinez. All of that could be in vain, but it's a great catch on Nertz. It's now new boy Tak against Martinez in a 1v1. Bomb on the site itself, kind of in the middle of no man's land. Tak's going to go for a jiggle. Oh, that's confident. And he crosses into jungle. Martinez should know the timing is there.
Though.
And yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about. The bomb is still on that site itself. He wants to go for the plain duel here, Tak, which is very bold, but now, of course, Martinez is worried that he's gone all the way through market. But he hasn't. He needs the bomb, and now it'll be planted.
I think he thinks the steps that he heard was the player moving his way through the vent into the B bomb site. Instead, it was Tak just desperately running, sprinting back onto the site, and he's going to breathe a massive sigh of relief as he's the one who holds all the aces now in the 1v1. Bomb down, nestles himself into Palace. There's no kit here, notably for Martinez, so time is of the essence. He's got a lot of utility, trades AWP for AK to give himself some more maneuverability, desperately trying to figure out where Tak has positioned himself, because surely there's no world in which he's going to be able to stick a 10-second. He has scooped up a kit, though. Maybe that's the difference maker. Smoke on the bomb. Can Tak hold his nerve? He peeks out, and Martinez will decapitate him to save the day for his team.
That was so clean. I mean, the thing is, Tak doesn't even play that badly. Some people might say, look, why are you peeking? But the reason he's peeking is he's trying to catch him while he's using utility, while he's positioning himself onto that bomb to go for the defuse. That's not a bad timing to peek for Tak at all. Martinez is just giga aware.
Yeah, you're bang on. He's trying to catch Martinez in transition there, and he's trying to go for that off-timing peak. But Martinez looked so robotic with the way he was clearing out all those angles. He looked so confident. Even I think most players will probably start to panic in that situation. He holds his nerve, and he wins a really important round, a key round there. Look at what that does to the finances for G2. For the first time in the half, Gentlemates are actually in a position to put G2 on the back foot here, and all but guarantee a tied-up scoreline if they can win round 11. How about we go B? Poor WG. He ain't seen much action besides when he retakes, and even then, the round's already all over the place.
Well, look, I'm a B player. That is the life of a B player. You get one and die, if you're lucky. Or rotate into A
strong
and
legs
die.
with all that jump spotting, mate.
Indeed. All right. Tak's been having a good game, but he'll be feeling a little bit annoyed at himself for not converting the 1v1. And now, Mattis, oh, yeah, Davy G very much caught there. And now the MP9 of Mopar stuck on the balcony. Very awkward position. That smoke is still in play near the apartments. Oh, he's done so well to find Mattis from that range before Heavy God traded him. How Gentlemates have a 3v2, I don't really know.
Key kill in the mix there is that Alex has gotten Nerds, who was boosted up or jumped up into snipers. That's the frag that then regains control for Gentlemates. Mopos does really well to stay alive as long as he does, and like you say, get that frag at range. Gonna be a fake plant. Gentlemates would now know that's the case. Rotation coming through from Salsal. Frag found from Heavy God though. Himself and his captain looking to combine. But you minus the Heavy God, and it leaves the Spanish Prodigy in the mix here, and he will find that first kill. Martinez again thrust into the 1v1 to save his team.
Against the guy who was on the team when he replaced him back in the Movistar Riders days. Martinez versus Sunpius, a very quick rotation all the way around, up short, and Sunpius has no clue that he's gone for that one. The full rotation makes it a lot more comfortable. Good brains for Martinez, and it's the second 1v1 in a row.
Yeah, and finally, consecutive rounds being won. Boy, were they hard fought, though, for for Gentlemates to actually get both those rounds on the board, like you say, requiring back-to-back clutches for Martinez, who has been by far and away the best player here for Gentlemates so far on the CT side. He has been electric for his team, putting up really strong opening kills, and then even closing these rounds out at all. He's doing it all. Trading was on point, and good proactivity, good signs of confidence from Gentlemates, breaking open those smokes in middle, taking the fights to G2 and trying to stifle the attack.
Mopos and Martinez have 22 kills between them. Salsal and Davy G, and if you want to add Alex too, why not, have 12.
Lord,
Quite a big differential.
Little bit top heavy, I might say.
And there's another one. Lovely flick on Mattis. Jump away, back into CT. Oh, I really felt like he was going to hit that. He's got some help coming in from Davy G, but he's gone down to the Heavy God Deeg. There's a chance maybe, but not when Martinez continues to keep hitting these shots. I mentioned he's a tier 2 AWPer to watch, and I tell you what, he is looking clean for Gentlemates. They recover the half brilliantly. 6-6, G2, shaky on the T side again. Can they recover? Gentlemates loving life at the moment. They've recovered that first half against G2 to a 6-6, despite Heavy God having multiple quality moments. Martinez answered back. Now, G2, they go onto the CT side. When you're in-game leaderless, you'd think that would be better for them. Let's see if that's right or wrong.
Yeah, relying more on the individuals to kind of have their moments and maybe not have to galvanize as much and go as deep in the playbook to find success. Gentlemates, like you say, salvaging their first half campaign by winning those last 3 rounds, almost entirely thanks to Martinez and some good contributions from Mopaz as well, who stepped up his game from the first map into the second. G2 prolific in pistol rounds on Mirage. Is that going to continue to be the case here for them to regain the lead? Or will Gentlemates get their noses in front for the first time?
Oh, actually, 3 players boosted in window.
What the hell?
That is not something you see all too often on a T-pistol, and some pious, I'm not sure, knows about that. He might know about 1. 3 will be a bit of a jump scare, I fear. He does get himself a 1-for-1. That's fine, considering. Now, Mattis might be the man that needs to deliver. He's got a bit of help on the site, thankfully, from Tak, but there he goes. Absolutely deleted. Mattis is burning, but still alive. Eventually flicks onto Martinez. How he's got that one, I'm not quite sure. Looking for one more, and Davy G drops. And a little bit of a scratch of the nose after. He's feeling it. Easy for Mattis. He doesn't care. And now Salsal in a 1v3. It's still doable. I mean, Mattis is not exactly full health from all his heroics, and Heavy God's not on the scene just yet. He's waiting in the short position on an off angle. Salsal now creep forward. Good pre-fire. Oh, surely
wow.
That could have been the kill that made the difference. But you can see G2 playing this one really carefully. They can't afford to give this up. And the time is the biggest issue. 16 seconds. He has to make the balcony jump to get the bomb. He's actually got it. And will go for a tap to force Mattis into the open. Oh, he's trying so hard to get a plant from somewhere. But he just can't get it. And now the time is getting also low. 1 tap is all he needs on Heavy God, but there's no time for it. It's a real nice try considering, but he won't be able to get it done.
Oh, it's the Matty's moment where he mops up 3 of the mates there with some quick fire kills. I mean, he was looking like a live wire, flicking back and forth. He even shot at his teammate at one point, and they didn't hear it, Trav. They didn't hear that silence shot. He shot at Tak, and I thought that maybe they would have clocked it and then been able to deal with them. The fact that he wasn't traded was criminal. Gentlemates were in such a good position with that long split around through middle into the B bomb site. That an orthodox approach nearly gets the job done. But Matty's had other ideas in mind as he comes up in a massive way for his team. And now it's the full eco and a chance here to farm some freebies.
Nobody look at the current scoreboard. Sorry.
What's wrong with the Trav? 6-8's all good.
The one number that's been left behind by the other 2 around it, unfortunately. I see you guys
I
in
have
chat.
no idea what you're talking about.
You're obsessed. You guys are obsessed. Anyway, full eco dealt with. And G2 now can relax a little bit. That was an incredible hold from Mattis. Salsal just had no time to really play out that 1v1 on the site as he would have wanted. And almost a rare occasion when he would have gone down after time to Heavy God. That's why he decided to push aggressively at the end of the round, but was able to keep himself alive. That does mean he's got a little bit less than he would have wanted into this gun round, though. He's got a Galil and a Molotov and a Flash. Not the best utility in the world, but it's okay. Their opening gun round.
Yeah, big opportunity for Gentlemates considering that there are still some of these weaker weapons in play. MP9, MP7, and a FAMAS as well. Prime opportunity for Gentlemates to get the ball rolling here on this T side. Fading this round puts them in a pretty rough position to try and recover. Then they'd be down the good old school number, 6-9. Then it'd be an anti-eco, probably 6-10.
Oh, here comes the mid-pincer. This is a perfect time for it, and I love that from G2. Mid-round, on not really a random timing, but a pre-planned timing. Just all peak together, from window, from short, from bottom con. And it all works at absolute perfection. The bonus buy is easy. They actually win it more comfortably than I think they would have ever thought possible. That was clean.
Yeah, they just collapse on middle there. Like you say, in the middle of the round, they kind of lure Gentlemates in by not contesting them. They give up that space, and then they just pounce in on middle from multiple different avenues of entry. There's a whole lot of pressure that, just like I say, collapses onto Gentlemates, and they're not able to keep themselves composed, and they get picked off. And that is a statement of a round coming through from G2.
Yeah, beautiful. Converging and converting as they would have hoped it would have gone. And maybe now a little bit of a difference in pace over toward B. Mattis trying to hold on, actually using all of his M4 ammunition. He's somehow alive. How has my guy survived? I'm baffled. If that was
He's done it again.
He's done it again, but he's died right at the end of the round. If that was me, I'd be dead in half a second. But Mattis is got better pathing than me because he's a professional and I'm not. And G2 take the anti-eco comfortably.
That's why he's on the server and we're just talking about him, and boy are we saying his name a lot in these past couple of rounds because he's had some really high impact over towards that B-bomb site. 3 more rounds is all G2 require here in the second half to level up the series and take us to a decider. And it's got to be this gun round here for Gentlemates, otherwise it feels like it's a formality from there. Martinez was the one-man army in the first half with his AWP. He was opening rounds, he was closing them with the clutches. Going to need the rest of the team to come to the party. WG in particular has had an awful map, just 2 kills, and his life's not going to get any easier here in this round. Already played catch with that HE. He struggled in a big way at that staked ranked event, in particular on the T side. Himself and Mopaz struggled to contribute in the way that the team normally gets out of them and expects from them. Needs to find their footing here soon enough in the second half.
Tak trying to hold on from default. Now Sunpire can get into position. They are up con, but a little belt sticks out and Mopaz will drop. Tak trying to hold on, but he's got a bit of help from Nertz to come through, and a lovely spray actually on Alex, well controlled. They're only really ahead to aim at. Now Salsal and Martinez, 2v4. Not much to say in this round, I don't think, unless they get some flashes in play, and there's some work from both of them has turned things back into a 2v2. Mattis is on a big flank. He's going to choose Palace all the way around through spawn, and Sunpius surely will be waiting for him.
Exactly. It's just a bit of an awkward one to play out because Sunpius would want Mattis to take first contact. Mattis would want Sunpius to take first contact here to try and create the space for one another. Mattis is going to get the frag for free on Salsal. At least that gives Martinez the info. He's now spotted the open CT. Sunpius playing a dangerous game. Martinez recognizes the window of opportunity to force the fight on the Palace player, then takes the initiative with the duel on Sunpius, and that's his 3rd clutch of the map.
Oh, cool, calm, collected. Little grin as if to say, yes, that's me, baby. Sunpius, you know all about me. Martinez looking fantastic.
He was able to piece it together so quickly because he realizes that they're not going to expect him to advance forward like that. Mattis especially not. So he realizes, okay, if I step forward and get an angle, I will catch that Palace player off guard. And then I'm just going to continue to force the fight. I'm not going to give Sunpius any time to reset in the clutch.
And now a fast A play off the back of that, trying to put pressure on G2, make them uncomfortable. Flashes are really, really good. Heavy God is so blind on default. There's nothing to be done. Smokes up on stairs and jungle mean that G2 are locked out, and maybe Martinez is once again the instigator for a Gentlemates recovery. They're going to win this gun round and will try and win it with all 5 alive as well, because that will really bolster their money after that 1v1 win. G2 are already out of there.
Yeah, no point in going hunting here if you're Gentlemates to try and get these weapons and pry them out of G2's hands, because then you run the risk, like you say, of losing multiple players in the process. Rather, bank all 5 surviving and build up your own money. I love the call from Alex in round 18 here. Coming off the back of a 2v4 win in the previous and a 1v2 clutch out of Martineza, they realized that G2 might be a little bit flustered. There was no pause called, so they just want to charge straight into that site and try and catch G2 while they're still trying to regain their breath off that electric previous round. Brilliantly done, fantastic call, consecutive rounds, Gentlemates back in the game.
A timeout for G2 at the right moment as well. They're still down 8-10, Gentlemates. They'll know that one sunny day doesn't make a summer. Only a couple of rounds in a row and they're still playing catch up. But the individual ability on show for Martinez in this series so far is proving to be the main talking point, I feel like, for them. Especially when, as we've been talking about throughout the entire series, it's his counterpart on the other side, Sunpire, so they know each other so well. Martinez replaced Sunpire when he left the Movistar Riders team a couple of years ago, and Sunpire went on to greener pastures, supposedly. Martinez didn't do too well at the beginning of that, but he's only improved since his other stints in other South American teams.
Yeah,
Look
exactly.
what he's doing now.
100%. He is now the, I'd say, best Spanish opera in the server.
Obviously. Oh, big nade on Mopos early. This is not the round that breaks the G2 economy yet. That's why I said it's not really very close to a proper comeback for Gentlemates as of yet. G2 probably have 2 more buys in arrears.
But it does break the G2 momentum.
Yeah.
And that's super important considering the direction that this map has been trending in from start up until now. Oh, really well done. If one of you can't take the Jorth Martinez, then double up. A hail of bullets in his direction. He's the first one to fall. He's got to watch this from his sidelines and hope that the teammates can get the job done. 3 players grouped up in apartments with a 4th in tow.
Mattis now knows it's coming. Tak playing from bench. They're going to jump down next to Mattis. That actually makes things awkward for him. Great pathing, actually, for Mopos to force his way out, and Tak can only get the trade on 1. Nert's not able to finish off Davi Another awkward situation for Davi down on 10 HP, going 2 and 14, getting just caught with all the damage back and forth, left and right. Now the retake's on, and now Salsal is tagged up. Heavy Gods really force the issue all the way through past the market door. Salsal needs to try and find something because Davi is still walking wounded. 1 bullet through that bench should be enough. And Alex has gone down to Nertz, and there's the reaction from Heavy God. Davi has been hit the entire time. Maybe they don't know. Oh my goodness, there's an opportunity all of a sudden. Or quick reaction from Heavy God. And Nertz has a kit on 4 HP, so the time is fine.
Oh, I thought for sure they would have known Davi was there because he was shooting a little bit from behind Broken Wall, but obviously there was just too much going on for G2 to have pinpointed his location. I was thinking about how on earth does Davi prioritize his targets, and he obviously would have been concerned that there was a kit on the defuse. I'm not sure if there was on the first player who was sticking the defuse.
No.
If it actually was the player, it wasn't, right? So if he had instead maybe taken a little bit more time to line that up, he might have been able to find those 2 kills in quick succession, but obviously it's impossible for him to know that that player busy sticking the defuse doesn't have a kit, so time was far more of an issue in his mind, and that puts G2 just 2 rounds away.
It's too much of a scramble for the brain to check to see what color the wires are and see if he's got a kit on his belt and all that sort of stuff, right? Like, in that heavy, very difficult moment, it's never going to really be easy. And yeah, Heavy God didn't have a kit, but Nertz did, and thankfully Nertz survived on 4 HP. If that kit gets dropped elsewhere, then that could have been a totally different outcome.
Yeah, works out for G2 though. It's kind of rough. I mean, Gentlemates didn't have the best post-plant positions to work with. They were kind of trapped. They were quite low, especially once the apartments player had gone down. He was like the pressure release valve for the 2 players who were hard committed. Barely had a square meter to work with in their respective positions. And now must win here for Gentlemates. It was A, and then A again for G2. And now we've got the converse here from Gentlemates trying to hammer home in on the speed bomb site. Now Mattis is just going to try and stay alive for as long as he can while Tak rotates in.
Again, playing inside of this smoke. Tak is here on time. Mattis knows what's going on, but Tak again goes down. That's again just inexperience, unfortunately. It puts a lot of pressure on Mattis, and he only gets 1. Some Pius rotating in has missed the window opportunity to get the kill through the window, I think. The bomb can go down. And Heavy God's on this big flank. It could activate a retake if he finds Alex, and he will. But of course, now his position is known.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, Alex giving up his life to get that intel brilliantly done from Sunpire's aiming the angle and then able to get the kill. And now it's the exact same setup between WG and Salsol compared to what they had in the previous where they weren't able to make it work. Sunpius doing the most and Salsol spotted in the corner. Heavy God will just peek, re-peek, take his head right off. And that puts G2 on map point to tie up the series.
Well, it hasn't been easy. Two relatively difficult retakes for G2 on B that you wouldn't see all too often, especially 2 rounds in a row. Great final kill from Heavy God. He's been insane this entire map of Mirage. That's the Heavy God we want to see. But I think a lot of credit, we've been talking up Martinez in this entire map, a lot of credit needs to go to Sunpius. Firstly, the kill on Mopoz. Secondly, the little jiggle near that bench smoke to clear Davy G from the corner. That was just expertly done.
Yeah, I mean, the kill on Mopoz is what gives them the foothold in the retake, right? That's what creates the space for them to actually start to flood their way forward. And then up close and personal with some combat AWPing. And they're looking to get the job done here. And now active from Heavy God. He hasn't had a whole lot to do over on the side of the map. Takes the initiative. That's his 23rd kill here on Mirage. Top of the scoreboard by some distance as he's put Gentlemates down to 4.
It's a lot of round swing for Heavy God in this map, I think. So many important kills. 23 and 9. Can G2 close it here and now? Take us to Overpass. It'll be a pretty fun map 3. Both teams play the map, but it's not exactly a favourite of either. Oh, Heavy God.
Upper's playground.
Oh, the flash comes through. He's so blind. Mopoz finds Tack in the meantime. But Heavy God's again. How are Mattis and Heavy God continuing to phase these smokes in this game? It's pretty crazy how he's still alive. And then Nertz drops through the stairs smoke into Sandwich to get his kill last season. Or last year, actually, I should say. And it was an excellent performance from Gentlemates to win on that occasion. But in comes Overpass, the first BO3 decider. Already 1 BO3 in. We're already getting close matches at Intel Extreme Masters Rio, and already Martinez gets met with a goosh.
Yeah, not great. And then frag started by Mattis, finished off by Tack. Mattis will then take Salsol down. That's going to set the round in motion as they just surge in towards, say, bomb site. Door being closed in by 2, but Gentlemates aren't going to mind. Now, WG has at least been able to get a kill here, but that then puts them on notice in terms of players being in these backlines. They wouldn't know that there's 2, though.
Pause will flick up. Oh, that's a great reaction. Mattis and Nertz and Sunpius are trying to fight him one by one, and eventually they take him down. But it has given Davy G some space. Is it possible to lurk round and get this kill in the back? Just misses the timing.
Oh, no.
On Tack. That's unfortunate. And with the time ticking down bit by bit, Davy G has no say in the CT pistol. G2 have managed to brawl their way into victory. 4 kills from Gentlemates. That, is going to be good for a CT4 spy with that $250 that will come through, or $200, I should say, that will come through as a bonus. But G2 get a critical T pistol.
I just love the acceleration there from G2 after they get that opening frag from Mattis and the Dink. They just decide, okay, that's our in. We're not going to hang around. We're not going to think, okay, we got these kills. What's the best way for us to then try and get into the round? What's the best option available? They don't hesitate, and that's why they're able to get onto that A bomb site before Gentlemates can respond with a rotation.
Yeah, and the buy that I was talking about is really not that bad at all. Scouts, 209s, 5.7, FAMAS, Season 1, all so often. And there we go already. The boost on short to get Davy G fighting Mattis goes in the way of the FAMAS. That con position being kept a close eye on. And Davy G continuing to pressure that short position with that extra flash coming through from his teammate. G2 needs space on the map.
This is their last flash, though. So they don't have any more options to make these poppy plays do Gentlemates. And like you say, G2 just trying to slow down the approach here and get themselves a bit of a foothold. This has become a popular boost these days because when you go through Monster as the T and you kind of glance into the right corner, you don't see the player when he's so far up, but Mopar's not able to surf his way to the top. They're going to try and assemble it again. These are the sorts of rounds you do want to go for these gimmick plays.
Technically, this is a bit of a pixel boost. We saw Furia use it to great effect at the end of a game, I think earlier in the year. It's definitely cheeky. Yeah, definitely cheeky, but I don't think it's anything nefarious. How is Salsol alive? There we go. Tack will take him down. Yeah, I believe the MP9 boost is definitely allowed. They can just leave him there now.
Oh, it is.
They're keeping it.
The decision for Sassel to advance forward was an aggressive one there. Thought he might have just gotten the kill and decided to rather try and fall back. Maybe he didn't think it would have been an option to get back to the safety of the A side. Alex is the one who's in the corner right now. Michael unchecked because of WG, and he'll double down to finish off the job. Captain asserts himself to seal the fate of round 2 and answer back immediately after losing the pistol.
Oh dear, I mean, Mattis, look, a great player. I've always loved watching him through every single tier he's played. He's very susceptible to tilt. It's been a common thing with him from the very beginning I've watched him. He can get angry pretty quickly. Even though he was out of the round at the very beginning, it's the frustration of watching how the round was finished by his teammates. Some players managed to get 2 on that entry toward the A bomb site, but with 3 players there, it's always going to be difficult. They didn't even need the Mopos rotation. G2 will get caught short early.
Look at Martinez. As soon as they win the round, he looks over the monitor. He wants to stare G2 down, look them in the eye, and say, yeah, you just lost to the force buy here. Great way for Gentlemates to answer back. Good tag from the scouts out of St. Pius is going to send Sarsel packing. And that's a lot of space being gained now for the T side to push on in towards the say bomb site.
Oh, Martinez, got to be careful. Sees a couple of players there. Doesn't want to peek into multiple. Definitely awkward for him, but the last few bullets left, he manages to get himself 2 anyway. That does allow Salsal to come on the rotation, but some Pius caught Salsal, and now PB3 out of nowhere. Alex already trying to make a play from Bank, and Heavy God has completely destroyed him. A great trade from Davy G and a good flash to blind up some Pius, but this round is not done, even though TAC is so very low. Another tag, Davy G down to 27, a headshot on Mopos, and incredibly, G2 answer back. Force by War is on, and so is the War of Words. Look at that reaction.
Yeah, bit of a glance across there from Nerds this time. I love that there. He wants to try and rub salt into the wound. We're just trading rounds back and forth. Some ping pong played in the green room, no doubt, and on the server here in the Decider.
I loved Martinez's reaction there. He just looked at Nert as if to say, how dare you talk back to me? But G2 won the round, so that's what matters. What an incredible one to take.
Scout was the hero. He hits like, what, 4 or 5 shots with the Scout there? A couple tags, a couple frags. Captain taking responsibility. Great way to answer back, and G2 in a position to really pile the pressure on early here onto Gentlemates. It's going to be a couple trades going back and forth. You don't mind that if you're Gentlemates when you're on the force buy. Normally the 1-for-1 trade early in a round would favor the T side because you can thin out the numbers on the defense. But when you're on a force buy, if you can just trade evenly, you feel like you're in the round. You're whittling down that T side and keeping yourselves in the contest. As G2 start to set their sights in on this B-bomb site.
Oh, Heavy God. It's a good catch on Mopos. And, oh my word. Not sure how Alex has actually been able to get away there. Heavy G on site too, in water. Not easy to clear that position, especially when that MP9 is moving so quickly back and forth, and Mattis will get caught again. Heavy God waiting to activate until his teammates are in to help, and the flashes are good actually, but Alex still finds the kill. So back and forth, the beginning of overpass, but TAC, great reaction. Finds 2, and now they know where Martinez is. Wallbang is definitely possible, or it's a little bit too high for Martinez, and he gets completely destroyed by some Pius. And G2 have won the force buy battle.
Yeah, here we go. We've got the game alive here in this Decider. Players getting into it. We haven't really seen many words being exchanged across the arena there with the way that they're set up across from one another, but now they're getting loud in and out of the server. Just trying to get into the heads of Gentlemates here.
Oh, and I think that's a really frustrating situation for Gentlemates, because once you win that force buy on the second round, you're like, okay, CT overpass, we can lock in, we can really make something happen here and get a good number of rounds quickly. Now it's the opposite. G2 playing without their in-game leader, Hunter, due to that leg break, unfortunately for him. Playing attack from the academy. They need as many T rounds as they possibly can get, and Nertz will hold on for a quad kill against the Eco. Very nicely done. And now the hard work begins for Gentlemates to recover.
Yeah, the favorites assuming control here. Like you say, winning 4 out of the 5 rounds already on the T side sets him up brilliantly here. If they could add 1 more, they're already at the benchmark for a successful T side. 2 more, and they'd be elated with that return going into the defensive half. Gentlemates have a hell of a job to do. They started really slow on Mirage. They were able to battle back there, and they find themselves in a similar position here once again.
Tak has played quite a bit of Overpass on his G2 Ares squad. He's actually had very good numbers on it, obviously. It's numbers in Tier 3 online CS, so you can't really take that with all too much relevance. But yeah, I think it's an important bit of information to know. That it's not like it's a map that they just don't play on the academy. That has often happened. I mean, famously, Kiyosuke had barely played any Inferno before he joined the Falcons, and we're going to see him later, of course, after this map.
Lots to talk about there. Excited for that conversation and to get to see that series and what sort of form we get out of Falcons. Gentlemates have got to win this round here. I mean, it's obviously not like the be-all and end-all lose the map if you don't, but boy, does it put them in a sour position, and G2 would just have so much momentum behind them. They've won the Battle of the Four Spies, which has delayed this first gun round of the 3rd map. Open play on both sides of the server. We saw Martinezza was instrumental in the success for Gentlemates on Mirage. Rest of the team languished. Gonna need them to show up here in a big way if there's gonna be any chance for the upset.
Heavy G willing to play close to that monster smoke. In CSGO, when you could play smoke fade, that was a very powerful strategy to go for. Sitting 2 players in that monster smoke, waiting for it to fade, and then catching anyone holding in a default outside the pipe. But in CS2, that is not really a relevant play anymore, so it's the patience required. Nertz could be walking into Salsol. He is. It's a good catch, but it was only a bit of a fake on that side of the map for Nertz. They're going in toward B, but right now, Gentlemates are holding on pretty well. DaviG will find Heavy God. Tak is trying to force his way in. He's got a mid-site smoke to use to possibly assist a plant. They're actually going to flash their way in towards water. Again, we've got players bypassing themselves in smokes, but Alex makes it happen, and some players will be caught by Mopars. So, Gentlemates do get their second.
Yeah, they passed the test, the flying colors there in terms of defending the B bomb site. Nertz was the one who was almost looking to initiate the round, even though he was in that lurk role. He made a move before his team were looking to execute because he's hoping to find success and maybe draw some of that attention away from B. Once he goes down, at that point, G2 have no option but commit to the play. A really nice kill while completely blinded initially, gives him a big edge here. And then, like you say, passing like ships in the night through that smoke. Enables Gentlemates to lock it down. Got to start to build some traction here early on and get some momentum going here for the CT side. This is fast from Nertz up long.
Yeah.
This is a position he's gotten himself into a lot earlier than what you would normally find. I mean, 20 seconds into the round and he's already outside of bathrooms. And there's nobody in any position anywhere near him right now to try and figure this one out. And with that kill, I reckon he's going to keep forcing the issue.
Yeah, that's a bit of miscommunication there. I mean, Martinez is completely wide swung from connector, and Tak destroys Salsol. And there goes Alex as well. Mattis, a deletion. That is what G2 can do to you sometimes. Pure W key headshots. I mean, look, there was thought process to it. Nertz could have run up all the way to the A bomb site if he wanted. Little did he know. But in the end, it didn't matter because all his teammates got the kills to clear it out anyway.
I just love the confidence for them to make that play. And again, we're seeing that this has been the style from G2, when as soon as there's a spark in the round, that then ignites them on this T side, where there's no hesitation. There's no time where they're taking, oh, okay, where should we go from here? Do we look to try and... No. They're just immediately pulling the trigger on the most readily available option. It's Occam's razor. The most simple solution is probably the correct one, and it's worked the trick here for G2 so far.
And when you're playing with an interim in-game leader, and one that maybe hasn't in-game led all too much in his career, simple calls like that, whether they're from him, whether they're from Nertz, whether they're from a bit of input from Saw, which I'm sure is very helpful. You know how good Saw is as a coach. So many projects over the years he's had good success on. Maybe it just makes things a bit more comfortable for Sunpius and G2. Just relaxing them, playing within their wheelhouse. You can see some Pius was calling the shots there at the end of that round and saying, look guys, we've got a great position here. 5 key rounds early is already excellent.
I feel like it limits the complications when you adopt that approach. The one thing I will say, if you're Gentlemates, you got to kind of clock that's what's going on here, and then maybe realize, okay, if they've gotten this kill, the most obvious approach is probably the one they're going to go for, and that's what we should be reacting to. Don't overthink these situations if you're Gentlemates. Respond to what's most readily available for G2. And right now, that's Heavy God searching up short. He recognizes the responsibility to make some sort of a play, and he'll round the corner, but Davy while backpedaling, has his crosshair perfectly trained in on short. He'll get the kill and compound the problems for G2 in the anti-eco.
Yeah, Heavy God saw the leg of the player walking monster, thinking he had that timing, had that gap. He did not. And now G2 will have to continue to try and go for a pick somewhere to get any response in the round. Tacks up toward long. Will he be jump spotted? Maybe he will be, and that's very awkward for him. He's got 3 players in his way now. Surely he's going to get faced eventually. He's done well to find one, to be honest with you. He was very overwhelmed there, and Mopos has been forced out of B. So some Pius will get the kill, and the bomb plant can come through, and all 3 CTs rotating from connector and CT.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a position here where they had a massive advantage, and that boost will help out in a huge way there. Sun Pius decapitated. Mattis left in the 1 versus 3. Going to try and isolate these duels to the best of his ability, but he takes a lot of damage in the initial fight, and Alex will finish off the job. I thought Gentlemates had maybe gotten a little bit ahead of themselves there with the decision to actually stack 4 players on the A-bomb site, really just trying to read into what was going to happen, and they were probably licking their chops once they had seen Tak Long, thinking, okay, we've made the correct call. And I thought that maybe they're giving G2 a way back into the round with that heavy rotation, but smart boost on the retake gets him in the 3v1, and they get the job done from there.
One of the things that is definitely noticeable when you look at the numbers between these two teams on Overpass, look, very heavy CT map, but G2, 40% win rate on T, Gentlemates, 37. That is very low. And sure, their CT sides are pretty good. G2 is even up to 65. But if G2 get even one more round, they would feel like they're in complete full strength. Love this boost. Don't see it too often. The sandbags hop up to check toward monster, but of course you can be exposed from short. And with that flash coming through, they realize it's too dangerous to stay there.
Yeah, at least they've both been able to get out of dodge with their lives intact. Gentlemates pulling out all the gimmicks, and again, this is Heavy God who's really just trying to play the situation. He's clearly been given a lot of room on the leash to make these sorts of plays. Reading the game, taking advantage of his game sense, and trying to capitalize on moments that he sees fit. And he will continue to slide on into B, nestle himself in the corner. Now, his teammates aren't really in any position to do much with this. He's just hoping that as that smoke fades, he may go unchecked.
Martinez now worried about bathroom for good reason. Mopos, surely he's not going to look for this, is he? He was for looking around for a second, but no. Heavy God will get the freebie, and that's when Martinez gets caught short in that bathroom position. Heavy God's found a second on Davy G as well, and with a few bullets remaining in that magazine, once again, Heavy God delivers. As you say, let off the leash to do what he wants, and maybe just plainly makes him even more of a threat than he ever was before.
Oh man, I just love him being active on this T side and seizing the moment, and you combine that brilliant game sense with fantastic mechanics, and then you get these Heavy God moments. We saw it on Mirage, where he had brutalized the defense when he came out of Palace. We're seeing it here in this round as well, where he recognizes that window of opportunity and he takes full advantage. Fantastic job there from Heavy God. And it's, again, another bounce back from G2. This is exactly what happened at the start of Mirage, Trav. It almost follows the same sort of path here where you're getting around one from Gentlemates here and there, but they're never able to string these consecutive rounds together and get any wind in their sails. So they're constantly on the back foot feeling the pressure.
Yeah, and having no handle hold on this CT side whatsoever is not being all too helpful for them. I think some Pius had a quick glance over the glass there at his fellow Spaniards. See how they're feeling. what was a brilliant performance from Martinez in the entire series so far, especially map 2. A little bit of a fall off here from Gentlemates, and G2 are starting to show their superiority. And Tak, he deserves his flowers here. He's having a very solid map 2 and 3.
Yeah, true. He's bounced back really nicely after what had happened on Inferno, where obviously he would have been quite nervous, you would imagine, going into that game. Pretty underwhelming performance, but it wasn't just from him, it was from the entire team across the board. That T side of Inferno in particular was just an abomination, right? We played 9 rounds. G2 only managed to win 1 of them. They got 16 kills in those 9 rounds in the second half of Inferno. So from top to bottom, it was just a disaster, but they have really been able to pull themselves back in line and show up in the way that we had expected here, considering the class of the individuals, despite them not having the IGL. Heaps and heaps of firepower. And this round here for Gentlemates, I think Trav is actually make or break. Failing this round here, and it could almost, very early on in the map, become the beginning of the end.
Well, honestly, in a way, I already feel like 6 on T is that. It's complete comfort for G2, in my opinion, but we'll have to see if Gentlemates can change my mind. You need a recovery at the end of this half, that's for sure, because if it's 8 or 9, then you're absolutely spot on. It is pretty much curtains, you would think. But sure, they'll drop into that lower bracket and continue trying. It'll just be a frustrating loss for them, having won map 1, knowing they're coming in against a wounded G2.
The prize for winning this one, Trav? Vitality.
Exactly. So maybe they don't want to win. I'm kidding. Who wants to play Vitality
This gives you... Yeah, it gives you 1 step extra in the lower bracket, basically, if you win this series. That's ultimately what it means.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to get knocked down there, if not here, then in your next. And they're in pursuit of chasing down that NIP map streak. They're looking to complete the Grand Slam here at Rio as well.
Oh, so many incredible storylines with Vitality. First, like 3 players to get 3 Grand Slams, I think. The core of Vitality. It would match up with Twist, I think it is. Who has a few. I think Rops actually is the one that will get 3. If memory serves me correctly. I've got it written down. I'll check it later. Heavy God will find Salsol. And Nert's entries Alex. And just like that, click your finger.
Boy.
It's a beautiful A-take. And it's very simple as well. Gentlemates really lacked information. And that is the main thing that hurt them. Knife? Okay, bit of money, but consolation.
A bit of a consolation, exactly. That's about as good as it gets for Gentlemates. Can Mopars maybe then put this AK to good use? That's a good frag farm from him. We'll double down on Sun Pius. I was thinking, is there any world in which he looks at to try and use that to just accelerate into A, but instead he will just bank his profits and take the AWP into the next. So at least a little bit of extra damage done. Double AWP going to be kept in play with Mopars having some residual money. Maybe that motivates them to actually drop some guns and buy up in the next, but it's G2 are now guaranteed a lead, and I think that was the most beautifully coordinated round we've seen from G2 on this T side so far in terms of the pressure up long within that late activation out of lowers. Notice how at that point Salsal is caught turned looking the wrong way. He's not even expecting a play to be coming through from lowers at that point. That's a free frag, and the round just capitulates from that point for Gentlemates.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough one, and just the caught timing when they're out of position was the worst thing. When you feel like you're in with a chance of winning the round, it all is feeling okay, and then you're caught out of position with nothing to do. It's the worst feeling. Just to confirm what I said earlier, it would be Rops' 3rd Grand Slam. Zyro, Apex, Mezzi, and Flames would join Twist on 2. Long, long way to go, but that's a lot of history on the line for Vitality at Intel Extreme Masters Rio. Very exciting.
I mean, hell, they could win 2 Grand Slams this year, Trav, if they go flawless through the rest of the year.
I mean,
it is possible.
Yeah. Insane. The era. We are truly living in it. Remember when people say, oh, there's no such thing as an era anymore? Well, Vitality have one right now, and that's no shadow of a doubt.
That is an era. If you say there's no era, that would be an era.
All right. Double
AWP, yeah.
Is there anything possible with this?
I mean, yes, definitely. Problem is Martineza has been lacking massively compared to what we saw from him on Mirage, and this is supposed to be the AWP's playground. They've done really well to shut him down. There's been a lot of super effective utility usage to force him back and deny him finding those same sort of kills that we saw on Mirage. That's one of the main reasons Gentlemates are struggling. But you definitely feel like there's still a chance here for these double AWPs, and it's going to be Mopars on that second to find success initially.
Salsa will go down to Nertz, but unfortunately for Alex, it's only a USP on the B-bomb site, and Martinez is burning a lot. Back dice on A. It's another angle he has to give up and fall back to. Can't timing the shot on the fallback. And now Devi G from long. It's a power position with a rifle, but not necessarily with a 5.7, but they still don't check it. And he does deny that bomb plant, but can't get to. 12 seconds to confirm that plant.
Wall bang.
Wall bang from Mopoz is possible, but he can't do it in time. He might hit the flick on Nertz, but now they know where he is. And Mattis and Tak should have him locked in. Mopoz, it would be a crazy clutch, and it ain't gonna happen. Mattis keeping G2 in full control, and Nertz is not letting up.
I think he was saying, look at me. He was always like pulling his eyes down. Look me in the eye. Where are you now? Oh, man. Yeah, he is really just trying to hammer home right now. The struggles and sorrows here for Gentlemates as their tough times continue. 8-3. G2 assuming full control here on the decider. 5 rounds away from booking themselves a date with Vitality.
Look at me. I am the captain now.
Absolutely. Asserting his dominance as G2 have here on the map, and it's exactly what Gentlemates are trying to do here in the round, and they're going to try and advance forward, but it's just brilliant awareness there from Nertz as he peppers the smoke, and Salsal will be on the sidelines for a hot minute.
Do you remember when Lake, I think it was a Pro League, when he was playing against Complexity when Floppy was still on the team, he was like, look at me, Ricky! Look at me! And that has lived rent-free in my mind ever since because of how funny it was. Tak with another brilliant headshot on Alex. Up to 12 kills on this T side, Tak. That was another beautiful one, and he's playing so damn well. They're kissing in the smoke,
Kisses.
or they're making out, but they're going to be heartbroken. They're going to walk by. Mopoz will surely get 2 kills in the back here. There is 1. Oh, it should have been 2. And that would have changed the round back in their favour. And now Tak has all the information on Martinez coming from short. Still can't find him. It's a great kill from the AWP. He does miss the HE onto default, though. So no damage on Heavy God. And it's a 2v2 in this afterplant.
Yeah, the one thing that G2 have going for them to not fall foul to the flank through Monster is that they knew that Martinez is in construction, right? So that means they'll be considering Monster. So it kind of means Davi G, even though he's had this great flank, isn't really going to be getting anything for free, you would imagine. And now he starts to push forward, making noise. So the audio cues would be confirmed. G2 now know what's going on. Heavy God, well, it's actually Mattis who robs him, but the kill comes through anyway. Martinez are in the clutch, but this one will not go the way that it did on Mirage. Pinpoint precision from Mattis, and again, Nertz is making sure that Gentlemates know exactly what's going down. It's 9 on the first half there for G2. Map should be in the bag, and with that, the series as well.
slight air of resignation maybe about the looks on the faces of the Gentlemates players. They've given up 9 rounds on T overpass. G2 are in full control, and Nertz is giving it large, as you can see.
Oh yeah, he has been through most of that first half there. Obviously, it's been a big drop-off from Martinez, and he really carried the team on Mirage and even made the map competitive in the first place. If it wasn't for his performance on Mirage, it probably would have been very similar to what we've seen here on Overpass. And this has been brilliant from G2, as they're just 4 rounds away from progressing here at IEM Rio.
Yeah, really important win for G2, and the confidence for Tak as well. It's a great first half from him. He's actually top fragged for G2 on that tee off of Overpass. I mentioned he was good on Overpass, but that was in Tier 3 and Tier 4 Counter-Strike. This is bloody impressive from him. He deserves a lot of credit, and G2 are getting ever closer to getting what will be a nice win. And honestly, Matt, Nertz has had pretty much nothing to shout about when he's been on Liquid. It's been pure depression for him, so I bet right now he's loving it.
Oh, absolutely. You would imagine there's been a huge change up in that regard. No longer part of was a relationship he wasn't enjoying all that much. He's going to have a hell of a job to do here. And the pistol, couple heads appear on his screen. He can't pip any of them. Good utility usage for Gentlemates will force him back. Cavalry arrives, but they've been locked out of the bomb site.
Good tap from Nertz. Alex down already. Bomb plant can come through. They're willing to give it to them because they do have a little bit of retake utility on some Pius again, but the lack of a kit again could be awkward. Doesn't matter if you continue to hit headshots though. Nertz has found one more, charging his way out, gives Mopos no chance at all, and Davi G deleted. That was so quick, and G2...
The sound of the police!
Continue to keep on telling Gentlemates what's up.
Yeah, that is what I really like what Nertz does there in Bank is that he doesn't completely fall back all the way down the stairs. Sure, he's not committed to actually pushing into the bomb site, but he just maintains the slightest foothold to at least get a kill. He executes that one player, then gets the numbers advantage for his team. There's one Gentlemates player who's still sweeping the back lines there, and at that point, G2, they just group themselves up, figure out the plan, and then charge forward together in unison. And that works the trick. 10-3. If the 9-3 half wasn't enough already to secure this map, then that pistol round certainly should be. It's going to be Gentlemates look to try and forcefully take control of this B bomb site. Mopos is already on the site. G2 scrambling to try and regain control, and that's certainly going to be made more doable with the kills that come through from the rifles.
Oh, they're so clean with it right now. Mattis helps out. Look at that little rotation. That was actually so cool from G2. It was Nertz surviving one, then Heavy God got one from Barrel, then it was some Pius's turn to spray the smoke, then Mattis helps out. Literal, nice shot, Martinez.
Yum,
I'm afraid it's a consolation, but it's still gorgeous. But yeah, I mean, that little rotation, player to player to player, to get one kill apiece on Mattis, some Pius, Heavy God and Nertz was beautiful. Martinez has also been heard running back on long, I think. They get peeked from Nertz, long range spray with that M4A4. Beautifully done.
Yeah, it feels like a mercy killing at this point. G2 just want to finish this off to put Gentlemates down. Obviously, double elimination here at IEM Rio would see Gentlemates going into a game that will be played against Red Canids. Now, Red Canids obviously the lowest ranked team in the competition, but I wouldn't write them off entirely going into that one, Trav. I think that one, there could be a bit of a game there, you know.
Look, you know me, I'm a Davideus fan. If any game has Davideus in it, I think they've got a chance. But yeah, you would still favour Gentlemates. Thing is, you know, before this match, the main storyline for Gentlemates was the fact that they're just on a slight decline, I would say, unfortunately. I mean, didn't qualify for the major is the biggest part of that feeling. They lost a couple of critical games against Tier 2 rivals that contributed to that failure to qualify for Cologne. And you know, question marks were being asked of, is this the last time we see this 5 play? They're going to make moves after the after IEM Rio? Well, we'll have to see. We're not being able to beat G2 when they're wounded. Maybe that's something that they're not going to be too happy about. Either way, Tak is playing very well, and it's looking great for them.
Especially after Gentlemates looked so damn good on the first map, in particular in that second half, man. There was so much to enjoy about that performance. so much to expect off of the back of that as well, but unfortunately they've just under-delivered. And they're going to persist with the Force buys. They got flattened in the previous round where they went all in. And they're not going to be too happy with trying to let G2 get themselves up to map and series points and then getting a full buy. But it could mean that they end this half without a single full buy. Nerds does preemptively start to spray when he spots the shadow. So that thing gives up his position. But at least the captain is in position to get 2 kills to remain in control. Now, he's just gambling that there's not going to be anybody coming through from long, but he couldn't be more wrong.
Good pick from Salsol, but look how quickly Mattis is on the scene. Up through Banana, he's got help from Tak coming through as well. Now Mopos and Salsol have to make a move. 2v3, they're stuck in really positions that should be easily caught, and as you see, Mopos not even checking for Tak coming from behind. Salsol's trying to go for the bathroom wrap, but there's a kit on Tak and Mattis. They can get one player holding that bomb and have no issue at all here. Salsa's going to give it a look, but they're already body blocking for that defuse. It's coming through right now, and there's the frag for Mattis. 12-3, full control for G2, and their individuals have really shown up when needed. Some Pius, it felt weird when you referred to him as the captain in that moment, but you know what? He's done very well in this opening series.
And this is going to give him a boost as well going forward. I mean, there's going to be lessons to be taken from this series here for Sunpius, for the team, for Tak as well. The teething issues, they can go back, do some demo review, they can take the notes, and then come back tomorrow and continue to try and make progress. And I don't mean, obviously, by winning the game against Vitality, but still continue to try and develop here within the tournament in terms of the level of confidence and competition that they can put on the server and how well galvanized they are. Alex will draw first blood at least to try and keep Gentlemates around here for a little bit longer, but this is just a formality.
Yeah, how long can they keep G2 on the server? That is the only question left, really. Alex working his way up towards short. He's the one that got the opening pick in the round, but damage on Mopos from that wallbang. Hack doing a great job again. 15-6, actually leading the way for G2. Would you believe it? He deserves a lot of credit. First map, jitters, totally acceptable. Map 2 recovery, brilliant. Map 3,
outstanding.
better.
Yeah, he's been fabulous here on Overpass. He's got a moment here as well. Can he multi? Absolutely. Attention turned away from Alex. Tak might still have to do more though. He has got a rotation in from Heaven and then this flank through from Nerds. Time starts to dwindle and Gentlemates are going to look to try and pivot away from that B bomb site, but Nerds has locked them and he's dropped the bomb and chaos ensues.
Yeah, look where Martinez is, but doesn't matter if you don't have the bomb and Nerds is in such a power position. How does Salsol remove this? He's looking for it. Oh, it's a whiffy one, but that's the end of the game.
GG.
That will be it. It's the first G of the GG already written in chat, and there is the second one. Very comfortable for G2 in the end. They took a while to get warmed up, but as soon as Tak, look at that reaction from the G2 players there. They know how important that was for Tak to get started well in Rio. Probably his first ever trip to South America, and guess what? He is looking brilliant, and G2 are still a big threat.
Yeah, some really good positive signs coming through there from G2 in that series. Sunpai is the first player to walk across to greet some of his former teammates and no doubt still some good friends over on Gentlemates who are going to be kicking themselves. They were presented an opportunity with playing against G2 who had to use a stand-in, missing their captain. Unfortunately, despite winning the first map, they were not able to capitalize, and that means G2 have stamped their ticket into the next round of Group A against Vitality. And
nothing easier on the way for G2 and Tak. He's even wearing Hunter's jersey. That's how sure they were that Hunter was going to be playing at this event. But yeah, someone get Tak a proper G2 jersey rather than a G2 Ares jersey. He deserves it after that performance. Super, super solid. And it's kind of funny, right? You mentioned it when you were kind of introing him at the beginning of the series. His style is pretty cerebral. He doesn't go for anything too ridiculous. He plays well, doesn't give up too many kills for free. That was genuinely an exact example of that in the entirety of Overpass. Really well played. And look, there's tougher tests to come. He could drop 2 kills across the entire series against Vitality. Who knows?
No one would even mind.
No one would even mind because it's Vitality.
Yeah, I mean, this win here in itself, I reckon, is already like a massive goal checked off the list that G2 have at least showed up. They've got a W. You know, now there's no pressure. There's no expectation whatsoever going into that next series tomorrow. And at a minimum, they've guaranteed themselves at least starting one step further in the lower bracket compared to what would have happened if they'd lost here to Gentlemates, who have now been dropped down and will obviously play up against Red Canids tomorrow for that elimination.
Yeah, and that is kind of reached the point for Gentlemates. So that's an absolute must-win. Sure, like we've already said it, it's for elimination. Obviously, it's a must-win. But for their next portion of the season, now they've failed to qualify for Cologne, what's the next step? If they don't beat Red Canids, there needs to be some serious changes. And as we were talking about earlier, there's not really many significant changes in the Spanish scene they can go to. You've got Joey, who's been let go from Mouse NXT. You've got Adam S, who's another option as well. But, you know, Alex and Mopaz, players play to 35 these days, totally fine, but they're not getting any younger. So it makes you wonder how long they can really go on this Gentlemates roster when they've already failed to complete their goal for the season.
Yeah. I mean, to even add to that point with some numbers, they've got the second highest average age by like a month. Just behind Aurora. So yeah, you're right, they are kind of getting over the hill, and obviously with that failure to qualify for the major and even some of their struggles in other tournaments as well. The problem is it's just so bitter because before that, for the past 3 to 6 months, they've been outstanding. They've been trending upwards, they've been making great progress, they've gotten some really decent scalps, but things have just completely, I'm almost saying maybe dropped off a cliff is too strong of a phrase, but it does feel like things have definitely started to move in the opposite direction for them, and they're not in free fall, but something is going to have to try and change. And I'm not saying that's necessarily personnel, but their form is not what it once was.
Exactly right. I mean, the truth is they've been a very good contender at the top of Tier 2 for a long time, this core, especially as Gentlemates. I mean, they've even won a couple of smaller lands, I believe, but look, in that run into Cologne, they lost to Nine, Big, and Hotu. They are like direct rivals, especially Big, obviously, to qualify for Cologne. And that is the main thing that's worrying for them. And it makes you wonder what the next step is. One thing that I think is a massive positive is that, sure, pretty poor map 3, but Martinez was all over them on Mirage. They may have lost that map in the end, but his individual level has not dropped off. I hope that we see more from him over the course of this tournament and on this team, because I think he's a bit of a treasure to keep hold of.
Yeah, I mean, more from him, but how about more from the teammates? Because that's where they were lacking. Either way, unfortunately, it does mean that they're down. Does that go for interview? We've got an interview coming up now. Hell yeah. Let's jump into an interview with Mr. Sun Pius. I thought it was go interview, but unfortunately, Trav, it was the complete opposite. There was no interview, so we're not actually going to get to chat to any of the players from G2. Womp womp. That's kind of sad. I was keen to talk to Sun Pius about what it had been like taking over as an IGL and what it was like having Tuck in the team, but I guess all we can do is speculate for now.
Yeah, that is a shame, but we'll definitely get more interviews over the course of the tournament on the B stream, so don't you worry, we'll be getting ready for that. But now, of course, we've got a very exciting match coming up for you. 3D Max versus Falcons. Now, there's kind of actually a bit of a conversation around Falcons. I wonder what that might be. Kixan, your days might be a little bit numbered, my friend.
Well, you can't say Kixan without saying kick.
Well, let's leave it there. We'll see you in a few minutes until we get into the pre-game of Falcons and 3D Max.
Placement matches set your starting point. Face It rating measures your impact as you climb. The soft ELO reset narrows the gap between the highest ELO players and the rest of level 10. Your starting point will be based on your recent ELO in activity. We're introducing Face It rating, so you can see exactly how much you stack up against others at your level. Face It rating measures how much your actions have increased your team's chances of winning the match, taking into account the full situation. Season 8 launches April 22nd. Good luck and have fun.
can I break when I have no heart to be broken? If this is the end,